Before we begin, I want to tell you something. Right now, inside my Patreon, the Inner Circle, there are people listening to a 3-hour conversation that goes so much deeper than anything I can put on this channel. No algorithm, no limits. Just the real work. If something in you has been searching for more than this, the first link in the description is where that search ends. Now, let's begin. Hey, I'm glad you're here. I mean that, genuinely. Not in the way people say it when they don't really mean it, but in the way you say it to someone you've been thinking about. Someone you've been a little worried about, quietly, in the background. Because I think I know something about you. Not everything, but something. I think you have spent a very long time being the person who holds things together, the one who shows up, the one who remembers, the one who notices when someone else is struggling and moves toward them before they even have to ask. I think you have been doing this for so long that it doesn't even feel like a choice anymore. It just feels like who you are. And tonight, I want to sit with you in that. Not to fix it, not to give you a 5-step plan for reclaiming yourself, just to sit with you. The way a good friend sits with you at the end of a long day and says, I see you. I actually see you. Not the version you perform for everyone else, you. So let's begin here, in this quiet, with the house finally still, or whatever version of still your life allows right now. Let your body settle a little. You don't have to do anything right now. You don't have to be anything. Whatever you are holding today, you can set it down, just for now. Just for this, breathe. And let me tell you something that Carl Jung understood, something I think about often, something I want to offer you tonight as gently as I can. Jung believed that every human being carries within them a self, not the self that learned to be agreeable, not the self that learned to shrink or perform or endlessly accommodate, the deeper self, the one that existed before the world started asking things of you. The one that had desires and limits and a particular way of being in the world that was entirely, distinctly, irreducibly yours. He called the process of returning to that self-individuation. And it is, in his understanding, the central work of a human life. Not achievement, not optimization, not becoming the best version of yourself as defined by some external standard, but returning, coming home, to the self that has been waiting, patiently, through all of the giving and the holding and the showing up, for you to finally turn toward it and say, I haven't forgotten you. I'm here. But here is what I want to ask you, gently, as your friend tonight. When did you forget? When did the shift happen? The quiet, barely noticeable shift, where you went from being a person who gave to others to being a person who existed primarily for others. When did your own needs start feeling like interruptions? When did asking for something for yourself start feeling selfish? When did rest start requiring justification? I don't think it happened all at once. It never does. It happened in small moments, accumulated over years. It happened the first time you swallowed something you needed to say because the timing wasn't right. It happened the first time you put yourself last and someone let you. It happened the first time you were praised, not for who you were, but for what you did for someone else. And somewhere in your nervous system, a pattern was laid down. A pattern that said, this is how you earn your place. This is how you stay loved. This is who you have to be. And you were so good at it. That's the thing. You were so genuinely, naturally good at caring for others that it became the thing you were known for. The reliable one, the strong one, the one who always comes through. And being known for something feels good. It feels like belonging. It feels like safety. But there is a cost. There is always a cost. And I think, on some level, you already know what it is. Because you are here tonight. Because something in you recognized the title of this video and felt something. A kind of quiet ache of recognition. A sense of, yes, that. That is what I have been trying to name. Let's name it together now. Jung had a concept he called the persona, the mask we wear in social life. the role we play, the face we present to the world. And he was very clear that the persona is not inherently bad. We all need one. We all need some way of navigating the social world, of being one thing in one context and another thing in another context. That is not hypocrisy. That is appropriate adaptation. But, and this is the part that matters tonight, when the persona becomes everything, when the role you play becomes so total, so all-consuming, that there is no longer any space between the mask and the face beneath it, something goes quiet inside, something essential, something that is, in the truest sense, you. For many women, and I say women specifically tonight because I know who is listening, the persona that most commonly swallows the self whole is the persona of the caretaker, the giver, the one who is fine, the one who manages, the one who holds the emotional temperature of every room she walks into and adjusts herself accordingly so that everyone else can be comfortable. It is an extraordinary skill, genuinely. The capacity to read a room, to sense what others need, to offer care and warmth and attention with such naturalness that it seems effortless, that is a form of intelligence and depth that deserves to be honored. But here is what Jung would say. Here is what I want to say to you as your friend tonight. A skill is not a self. A role is not an identity. A gift is not the whole of who you are. And when the skill becomes the only thing, when the role becomes the only role, when the gift is given so constantly and so completely that there is nothing held back for the giver herself, something begins to hollow out. Something begins to ache in a way that is hard to name. A tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, a loneliness that exists even in a full house, a sense of being known by everyone and understood by no one, a hunger for something that you can't quite identify because you stopped being allowed to want things so long ago that you've almost forgotten what wanting feels like. Does any of this feel familiar? I want you to let it land if it does, not to spiral into it, not to turn it into another thing to fix or manage or feel guilty about, just to let the recognition be there. Because being seen, even just by yourself, even just for a moment, is the beginning of everything. Let your body soften a little more. Whatever tension is in your shoulders, your jaw, the back of your neck, let it have permission to ease. You don't have to hold everything together right now. Not in here. Not tonight. There is a room inside you that has been waiting. Not a metaphorical room, not a poetic abstraction, but a real place, as real as any room you have ever stood in, where the version of you that has been set aside is still living, still breathing, still hoping you'll come back. Jung called it the unconscious, but I think of it tonight simply as the part of you that remembers who you were before the world started asking so much of you. The part that still knows what you love, not what you love doing for others, but what you love, what lights something up in you, what makes you feel alive rather than merely functional, what makes you feel like a person rather than a service. And I want to take you there tonight, slowly, gently, the way you would go back to a place you loved a long time ago and haven't visited in years, with a kind of reverent tenderness for what you might find there. So breathe with me for a moment. Just breathe. In through the nose, slow and easy, and out through the mouth, letting something go with each exhale, not forcing it, not performing relaxation, just breathing. The way your body knows how to breathe when you finally let it do what it does naturally. Good. Now, I want to tell you about something Jung wrote about that I think is one of the most quietly devastating observations in all of depth psychology. He wrote about what he called the unlived life. The life that exists in potential, the things you might have been, the things you might have done, the desires and directions that were never followed, that accumulate in the unconscious over the years, pressing gently at first, and then, if they remain unacknowledged for long enough, pressing harder. The unlived life does not disappear just because you don't live it. It gathers, it waits. It finds ways to make itself known. Sometimes it shows up as a vague, sourceless sadness, a Sunday afternoon feeling that has no clear cause. Sometimes it shows up as envy, A flash of it when you see someone living in a way that you quietly, privately wish you could. Sometimes it shows up as dreams, vivid and alive and full of the things your waking life has no room for. Sometimes it shows up as that very particular exhaustion, the one that feels less like tiredness and more like grief, because that is what the unlived life produces when it has been unlived long enough. Grief. A mourning for the self that never got to be, for the needs that were never met, for the wants that were never allowed, for the person who was somewhere in there all along, waiting, and who has been waiting for a very long time. And I want to say something about that grief that I think is important. It is real. Whatever you are carrying tonight, whatever quiet sadness or tiredness, or sense of having lost something you can't quite name, that is real. It deserves to be honored, not bypassed, not spiritually transcended, not converted immediately into growth and gratitude and forward momentum. It deserves to be felt, fully, the way only you can feel it, from the inside, in the quiet of your own body. You are allowed to grieve the years of self-abandonment. You are allowed to feel the weight of how long you have been doing this. You are allowed to be tired, genuinely, deeply tired, without immediately reaching for the energy to keep going. You are allowed to just be here, in this, for now. Jung believed, and I believe, that the psyche has a kind of wisdom that the conscious mind often doesn't have access to. That the feelings we try hardest to avoid are often the ones carrying the most important information. That the tiredness is not a malfunction. It is a message. That the sadness is not weakness. It is the soul speaking in the only language left available to it after everything else has been ignored for too long. So what is the message? I think the message is this: you are a person, not just a function, not just a role, not just the sum of what you provide to others. A full, complex, feeling, wanting, needing, dreaming, human person. And that person deserves the same quality of care and attention and tenderness that you have been pouring out so generously toward everyone around you. That's it. That is the whole message. And it sounds simple. And it is, in its essence, simple. But living it, actually living it, after years or decades of having organized your entire identity around not living it, that is one of the hardest things a human being can do. Because it requires letting go of something. And the something it requires letting go of is not easy to release. It's not a bad habit or a toxic relationship or a job you hate. It's something more fundamental than any of those things. It's the belief, the deep, old, settled belief that your worth is conditional, that you are loved because of what you do, not because of who you are. That if you stop giving, if you stop managing, if you stop being useful and available and endlessly accommodating, something terrible will happen. People will leave. Love will be withdrawn. You will become unworthy. That belief is the shadow. That belief is the thing Jung would ask you to look at directly, to drag out of the dark where it has been running your life from, and to examine honestly. Is it true? Is your worth actually conditional? Are you actually only lovable in your usefulness? End quote. And the answer, the honest answer, the answer that the deepest part of you already knows, even if the frightened part refuses to believe it, is no. It is not true. It was never true. It was a story you learned very early, in response to something that hurt, and it made sense then. It was a way of surviving. But it is not the truth of who you are, and it is costing you everything. Let me tell you about a concept Jung called the shadow. I know I've used that word already tonight, but I want to go deeper into it because I think it's the key to everything we're exploring together. The shadow is not simply your darkness. It is not simply the bad things about you, the selfish impulses, the difficult emotions, the parts you're not proud of. The shadow is everything you have decided, mostly unconsciously, is unacceptable about yourself. Everything you have exiled in order to be loved, in order to belong, in order to survive. And for the woman who has spent her life as the caretaker, the giver, the one who is always fine, The shadow is full of very specific things. It is full of her needs, the ones she learned to suppress because expressing them felt too dangerous, too needy, too much. It is full of her anger, the clean, legitimate anger at having been asked to give more than was fair, at having had her limits ignored, at having been praised for self-sacrifice in a way that made it impossible to stop sacrificing. It is full of her desires, the things she wanted for herself, the direction she might have taken, the dreams she set aside because there was always someone else who needed something first. It is full of her rest, the deep, unguilty, unapologetic rest that she has never quite allowed herself, because rest always felt like something that had to be earned. And it is full of her voice, the true one, the one that says what it actually thinks, rather than what will keep the peace, the one that says no when it means no and yes only when it means yes. All of this is in the shadow. All of this has been waiting. And all of this wants to come home. The shadow is not your enemy. The shadow is you. The parts of you that were sent away are not gone. They are in the basement, in the quiet, in the unlived life, pressing gently against the walls of the container you've built around them, waiting for you to come back for them. And tonight, I want to take you toward them, gently, with the lights on and your hand held. Because the work of reclaiming yourself doesn't have to be terrifying. It can be tender. It can be slow. It can feel, if you let it, like the most natural homecoming in the world. Because that is what it is, a homecoming. Let your breath slow a little more. Let the weight of your body sink into whatever is beneath you, the bed, the couch, the floor, wherever you are tonight. Let it hold you. You don't have to hold yourself up right now. Let yourself be held. And as you settle, I want to ask you something I rarely hear anyone ask the woman who takes care of everyone, who takes care of you. Not in the practical sense. Not who makes your meals or drives you places or handles logistics. I mean who actually takes care of you. Who asks how you are and waits for the real answer. Not the fine answer, not the managing answer, but the true one. Who holds space for your difficulty without immediately trying to fix it or move past it. Who lets you be not okay without getting uncomfortable. If the answer is no one, I want you to feel that without collapsing into it. Just feel it, the aloneness of it. The particular loneliness of being the one everyone leans on and having no one to lean on in return. That loneliness is real, and it is one of the most common, most unspoken experiences of the woman who gives too much. Because the role of caretaker comes with an invisible rule. The rule says, you are the strong one, and strong ones don't need. Strong ones manage. Strong ones carry without complaining. And if you've been living by that rule for long enough, you start to believe it. You start to believe that needing is weakness, that vulnerability is dangerous, that asking for care is somehow a betrayal of who you are. But Jung understood something about this that I want to offer you now, quietly, as you drift. He understood that the things we most need, the things we have been most deprived of, the things we have been most afraid to ask for, those things don't stop existing just because we stop asking for them. They go underground. They become what he called complexes, clusters of feeling and memory and unmet need that operate below the level of conscious awareness, shaping our behavior from the inside without our knowledge or consent. The woman who never received consistent, unconditional care as a child, or who learned that her needs were a burden, or who was praised only for her helpfulness and never simply for her presence, that woman carries a complex, a wound, a deep, old, unhealed ache that drives so much of the giving, so much of the performing, so much of the exhausting work of being endlessly available. She gives because she is hoping, somewhere beneath consciousness, that if she gives enough, she will finally receive. That if she is useful enough, lovable enough, accommodating enough, the care she never quite received will finally come. That the equation will balance. That the debt will be repaid. But the equation never balances. Because the giving from that place, the giving from the wound, rather than from genuine fullness, is not actually about the people she is giving to. It is about the original need, the original wound, the original person who needed more than she received and never got to say so. And this right here, is where the shadow work begins. Not in trying harder to give from a better place, not in developing more sophisticated coping mechanisms, but in going back, in sitting with the younger version of yourself who first learned that her needs were secondary, in saying to her, with all the love and steadiness you can muster, I see what happened to you. I see how much it cost you. I see what you had to give up in order to belong. And I am going to go back for all of it, for the needs and the desires and the anger and the rest and the voice. I am coming back for all of it. That is the work. And it is not quick, and it is not linear. And it does not come with a schedule or a completion date. But it is the most important work you will ever do. Because every other kind of healing, every relationship that improves, every boundary that holds, every moment of genuine joy and genuine rest, all of it rests on this foundation. On the foundation of having gone back for the self you left behind. I want to pause here and offer you something to hold in the quiet as you continue to settle. A question, not a question you have to answer right now. Just a question to let rest somewhere in the back of your mind as you drift towards sleep. If the part of you that you have been setting aside all these years, the part that has needs and desires and limits and a voice, if that part could speak to you right now, freely and without fear of judgment or consequence, what do you think it would say? Let that question be soft. Let it float there, without needing an immediate answer. Sometimes the most important questions do their best work when we stop demanding answers from them and simply let them live in us for a while. Now I want to go somewhere specific in Jung's thinking that I find endlessly rich and endlessly relevant to what we're exploring tonight. And that is his understanding of what he called the anima, and, more specifically for our conversation, the way that certain qualities of the soul get exiled when the persona becomes too rigid. Jung talked about the anima as the inner feminine in a man, but the deeper principle behind his thinking, the one that applies regardless of gender, is this. Within each of us, there is a range of qualities, some of which our culture labels masculine, and some of which it labels feminine, and most of which are simply human. Qualities like receptivity, softness, intuition, emotional depth, the capacity to rest, the willingness to receive rather than only give. These are not weak qualities. These are not lesser qualities. These are some of the most essential and life-sustaining qualities a human being can possess. But in a culture that has historically asked women to embody these qualities in service of others, while simultaneously devaluing them as serious or important, something deeply confusing happens. The woman learns to be soft and receptive and emotionally available for everyone around her, while simultaneously learning to be hard and relentless and self-denying with herself. She extends the warmth outward and turns something cold inward. She is gentle with everyone, except the person who most needs her gentleness, herself. This is the paradox at the heart of so much feminine suffering. The extraordinary capacity for care turned everywhere except inward. The deep well of compassion somehow running dry at the moment it reaches its own source. And Jung would say, gently but clearly, that this is not sustainable. That a well that only gives and never receives will eventually run dry. That a person who only extends care and never receives it will eventually reach a point of depletion so complete that the giving itself becomes impossible. Maybe you have already reached that point. Or maybe you are approaching it. The exhaustion that feels deeper than physical, the sense of going through the motions. The growing difficulty of finding genuine warmth for people you love, not because the love is gone, but because there is simply nothing left to give it from. If that is where you are, I want you to know something important. That is not a character flaw. That is not a failure of love. That is a physiological and psychological reality. You cannot pour from an empty vessel, and no amount of willpower or commitment or love for others will change that fundamental truth. What can change it is turning the care inward. What can change it is learning, slowly and imperfectly, and probably with a great deal of resistance from the part of you that has been trained to believe this is selfish. Learning to give yourself some of what you have been giving everyone else, not instead of giving to others, alongside it, in addition to it, as the foundation from which the giving can actually be sustainable rather than depleting. Breathe. Let that settle. The house is quiet. The night is holding you. You don't have to solve anything right now. Let me tell you something about rest. Because I think for the woman we are talking about tonight, rest is one of the most radical, most politically charged, most internally complicated things imaginable. Rest, for her, has been turned into a transaction. She rests when she has earned it. When the list is done, when everyone else is taken care of, when there is nothing left that needs her. And since there is always something left that needs her, since the list never fully empties, since the needs of others are genuinely bottomless, she never quite reaches the moment when rest feels fully justified. This is not a time management problem. This is not a productivity problem. This is a belief problem. It is the belief, again rooted somewhere deep and old, that her existence has to be earned through usefulness. That simply being present and alive and human and in need of rest is not enough justification for rest. Jung would call this a complex, a deeply embedded pattern of thought and feeling that operates below the level of rational choice. And like all complexes, it cannot be dissolved simply by deciding to dissolve it. It cannot be argued away or willpowered out of existence. It has to be felt, understood, traced back to its origin, met with compassion rather than judgment. Because somewhere, at the origin of this belief, there is a child who learned that her presence alone was not enough, that she had to do something, be something, provide something, in order to deserve her place. And that child is still inside you, still running the program, still evaluating your worthiness based on your output. And she needs something from you tonight. Not advice, not a plan, not a resolution to do better. She needs to hear something simple, something she may never have fully heard. You are enough, right now, without doing anything, without providing anything, without managing or holding or organizing or giving. Just as you are, in this moment, tired and real and human and here, you are enough. You have always been enough. The worth was never in the doing. It was always in the being, in the simple, irreducible fact of your existence. Let that sentence find the places in you that haven't heard it yet. Let it travel to the corners that have been waiting for it. Let it do whatever quiet work it can in the time we have tonight. Good. Just breathe. Just let yourself be here. Now, I want to take us into something that I think is one of the most important and least discussed aspects of this particular wound, and that is the relationship between self-abandonment and identity. When you spend enough years defining yourself primarily through your relationships and your roles, through being someone's mother, someone's partner, someone's friend, someone's colleague, someone's support system, a strange thing happens to your sense of self. It becomes relational rather than intrinsic. It becomes dependent on the presence and the needs of others for its very existence, which means that when those relationships change, when the children leave home, when a partnership ends, when circumstances shift, and the roles that have defined you for so long suddenly change, shape, or disappear, there is a crisis. Not just a practical crisis, though it is that too. A deeper crisis, an identity crisis, in the most literal sense. A sense of, if I am no longer this, if I am no longer needed in this specific way, if the role that gave my life its structure and meaning is no longer available, then who am I? Jung called this a individuation crisis, a moment when the persona is no longer adequate, When the self that has been organized around a particular role is forced, by circumstances, to confront the question of what exists beneath the role. And this confrontation can feel terrifying, because the answer to what exists beneath the role is not immediately obvious, because you have been the role for so long that the distinction between the role and the self has blurred almost beyond recognition. Because the self that exists beneath all the giving and managing and holding has been so quiet for so long that its voice is barely audible. But it is there. It has always been there. And this moment of crisis, this moment of the old structures falling away, as frightening as it is also the greatest opportunity of your life. Because it is the moment when the deeper self, the one that has been waiting, finally has some space, finally has some room, finally has a chance to make itself known. And what comes through when you are quiet enough and brave enough to listen is not nothing. It is everything. It is the whole accumulated unlived life pressing upward toward the light, the desires that were never pursued, the dreams that were never given permission, the creativity that was never expressed, the voice that was never allowed to speak its full truth, the rest that was never fully taken, the pleasure that was never fully received. All of it is there, waiting, not as a reproach, not as evidence of failure, but as an invitation. As the next chapter of your life, sitting quietly in the anteroom of your consciousness, waiting to be acknowledged and invited in. This is what Jung was pointing toward when he talked about the second half of life. He believed, based on decades of work with patients, that the first half of life is largely about building, about establishing the ego and the persona and the social identity and the external structures of a life. And that the second half of life, properly lived, is about something else entirely, about deepening, about turning inward, about dissolving what is no longer true and discovering what has been waiting beneath. He said, "We cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning." And what he meant by that is something I find endlessly beautiful and endlessly challenging. He meant that the self that served you in the first half of your life, the achieving self, the proving self, the earning self, the giving self, that self is not wrong, but it is not the whole story. And the second half of life is the invitation to find out what the rest of the story is. Many women encounter this invitation not as a gentle philosophical musing, but as a crisis. As the crisis of the empty nest, or the end of a relationship, or the sudden confrontation with their own aging, or the quiet, creeping realization that they have been living someone else's life while their own life waited patiently outside the door. If that is where you are, I want to say something directly to you. It is not too late. Whatever age you are, wherever you are in the arc of your life, it is not too late to come home to yourself. The self that has been waiting is not impatient. It does not hold the years against you. It is simply there, steady and full and alive, ready to be met whenever you are ready to meet it. And the meeting can begin tonight, right here, in this quiet, in this breath. In the simple act of allowing yourself to be, for this hour, the person who is being cared for rather than the person who cares, the person who is listened to rather than the person who listens, the person who receives rather than the person who gives. Let yourself receive this, whatever this is, the words, the quiet, the permission, the recognition. Let yourself take it in. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to turn it into action or productivity or growth. You can just receive it, like water into dry ground. Now, I want to talk about something that I think is deeply, intimately connected to everything we've been exploring, and that is the body. Because the woman we are talking about tonight, the one who has been giving until empty, the one who has forgotten she is also a person, she often has a particular relationship with her body that reflects everything we've been saying. She tends to experience her body primarily as an instrument, as a vehicle for doing things, for going places, for serving others, for managing the logistics of a life. She tends to be disconnected from it in the sense of not quite inhabiting it fully, not quite feeling it from the inside, not quite receiving the messages it is constantly sending her. Because the body is extraordinarily honest. The body does not perform. The body does not tell the story that keeps everyone comfortable. The body tells the truth. The tightness in the chest when something is wrong. The knot in the stomach when a boundary is being crossed. The bone-deep exhaustion that says, "This is too much. This has been too much for too long." The tears that come without warning in quiet moments. The body releasing what the mind has been carefully containing. These are not malfunctions. These are messages. And the woman who has learned to override her body's messages in service of other people's needs, who has learned to push through the exhaustion and ignore the tension and suppress the tears because there is always something more important to attend to, she is at war with one of her most important sources of information and wisdom. Jung understood this. He wrote extensively about the relationship between psyche and soma, between the psychological and the physical, in ways that anticipated much of what modern neuroscience is only now beginning to confirm. He understood that the emotions and experiences we cannot or will not feel consciously do not disappear. They are stored in the body. They live in the tension and the pain and the illness and the exhaustion that has no clear physical cause. And the work of coming home to yourself includes coming home to your body, listening to it, trusting it, treating it not as an instrument to be managed, but as a companion, a partner, a source of intelligence about your own inner state that is available to you in every moment if you are willing to attend to it. So as you lie here tonight, I want to invite you to feel your body from the inside. Not to analyze it, or judge it, or wish it were different, just to inhabit it. To notice where it holds tension and where it feels soft. To notice where it feels present and where it feels numb. To notice what it is trying to tell you in this quiet moment when you have finally stopped running long enough to listen. What is your body saying right now? Let the answer come without forcing it. Sometimes it comes as a feeling, sometimes as an image, sometimes as a memory, sometimes as a simple, wordless knowing. Whatever comes, let it come. You don't have to do anything with it right now. You just have to be willing to receive it. Breathe. Settle. Let the night hold you. We are halfway through our time together tonight, and I want to pause here and tell you something. What we are doing in this video, this exploration of the woman who forgot she was also a person, this is the beginning of a conversation, and the beginning is important. But there is so much more. Inside my Patreon, the inner circle, this conversation goes 3 hours deeper. No interruptions, no algorithm deciding what you're allowed to hear. Just me and you and the real work. The kind that doesn't just make you feel something for an hour, but actually changes something. The kind that people inside the inner circle are describing as the most honest work they have ever encountered. Right now, while you are listening to this, someone inside the inner circle is an hour into a 3-hour conversation about self-love and shadow work and the parts of themselves they have been most afraid to meet. And they are not looking for the next video after this one, because they found the room where the work actually happens. If something in you recognizes that you have been searching for that room, the first link in the description is the door. $9 a month for the Seeker tier. $19 for the full Inner Circle experience. The price of 1 coffee a week for the work that actually changes something. Come back to that when you wake up. Right now, let's go back inward. I want to talk now about what it actually looks like to begin coming home to yourself. Not in a grand, dramatic, life-overhauling way, but in the small, specific, daily ways that actually build a different relationship with yourself over time. Because the return to the self is not a single event. It is a practice. It is a series of small choices made again and again in the ordinary moments of an ordinary life. Choices that, accumulated over time, add up to something genuinely different. A life that feels, from the inside, more yours, more real, more inhabited. The first and most fundamental of these choices is the choice to notice. To begin paying attention to your own inner experience with the same quality of care and attention you bring to the inner experiences of others. To start treating your own feelings as data rather than inconveniences. To start asking yourself, several times a day, the simple question you rarely get asked, how are you? Not how is everything going, not how is everyone else, but how are you? And to actually wait for the real answer. This sounds almost absurdly simple. And it is simple. But simple is not the same as easy. Because what you will find, when you start genuinely attending to your own inner experience, is that there is quite a lot there that has been waiting to be acknowledged. Feelings that have been suppressed. Needs that have been ignored. Desires that have been dismissed. Anger that has been swallowed. Grief that has never been given room to breathe. And meeting all of that, sitting with all of that, can feel overwhelming at first, especially if you have been running from it for a long time, especially if the momentum of your life has been organized around staying busy enough not to feel it. But I want to offer you something Jung understood about this. He understood that the feelings we have been running from are not, in most cases, as overwhelming as we fear they will be. That the anticipatory dread of feeling them is often worse than the feeling itself. That when we finally stop running and turn around and face what has been chasing us, we often find that it is not a monster but a child, our own child self, frightened and in need, asking simply to be seen. And you can do that. You can see her. You have been doing the harder thing for years, managing and suppressing and overriding and pushing through. Turning toward your own inner child and saying, I see you, I'm here, is not harder than that. In many ways, it is easier. Because it is true. Because it is real. Because it is what the soul has been asking for all along. The second choice, the second small daily practice of coming home to yourself, is the choice to honor your own limits. Limits. Not boundaries in the self-help book sense. Not the assertive communication framework, not the 5-step process, just limits. The simple, physiological, psychological reality that you are not infinite. That you have a finite amount of energy and emotional capacity and attention and care to give. That when those finite resources are depleted, you need to replenish them. Not as a lifestyle choice. As a biological necessity. Honoring your limits means noticing when you are depleted and responding to that information. It means saying no when you mean no. Not every time, not perfectly, but more than you currently do. It means building rest into your life, not as a reward but as a requirement. It means recognizing that a depleted you serves no one well, not yourself and not the people you love. This will feel selfish at first. That feeling is the complex speaking. That feeling is the old belief system, doing what old belief systems do when they are challenged, generating discomfort, generating guilt, generating the fear that if you stop overextending yourself, something terrible will happen. It won't. The people who genuinely love you will not leave because you started taking care of yourself. The relationships that can only survive your self-sacrifice were not healthy relationships to begin with. And the relationships that are real and mutual will breathe easier when you start showing up as a full person rather than a depleted one. The third choice, and this one is perhaps the most quietly radical of all, is the choice to want things, to allow yourself to have desires again, to permit yourself to want things that are just for you, not because they make you a better mother or partner or friend or colleague, but simply because you want them, because they bring you pleasure. Because they make you feel alive. Because they are yours. What do you want? Not what do you want for others. Not what do you want your life to look like from the outside. What do you, the actual you, the one who has been quietly waiting, want? If the question feels strange, if it feels almost impossible to answer, that is information. That is the measure of how long you have been away from yourself. But it is also an invitation to start small, to start with the tiniest, most manageable desires. What do you want for breakfast that is just for you? What would you do with 1 hour that belonged entirely to you? What would you read or watch or make or explore if no one else's needs or preferences were involved? Start there. Start impossibly small and build from there, because desire, like a muscle, grows stronger with use. And the reconnection to your own wanting is one of the most important aspects of coming home to yourself. Breathe. Let your body be heavy. Let the night hold you. We are moving now toward the deeper waters of our time together. And I want to take us somewhere that I think is the heart of everything. Jung believed that the goal of all psychological and spiritual work, the goal of individuation, is not the creation of a new self. It is the recovery of the original self, the self that existed before the adaptations, before the persona, before the shadow was built, before the unlived life accumulated. He called this the self with a capital S, the deeper organizing center of the psyche, the part of you that is larger than your ego and older than your wounds and wiser than your fear, the part that has been watching your whole life with a kind of patient, loving, enduring attention, the part that has never once doubted your fundamental worth, even when every other part of you was convinced of your inadequacy. When we begin to make contact with that deeper self, something shifts. The exhausting project of earning your own worth relaxes. The constant pressure of self-improvement eases, not because you stop growing, but because the growing comes from a different place, from love rather than fear, from genuine curiosity about who you are rather than desperate compensation for who you aren't. And for the woman who has forgotten she is also a person, making contact with this deeper self is the most important thing she can do, because the deeper self has never forgotten her, has never stopped knowing what she needs, has never stopped loving the whole of her, the giving parts and the needing parts, the strong parts and the vulnerable parts, the part that has been visible to the world and the part that has been waiting in the quiet. The deeper self is the part of you that is always, even in your most exhausted and most depleted moments, enough. Not enough by the standards of what you have provided or achieved or given. Enough simply by virtue of existing, of being alive, of being you. And tonight, in this quiet, I want you to let yourself be held by that knowing, not to force it, not to perform it, but to let it be possible. To let the question rest in you, what if I am already enough? What if I always have been? And as you hold that question, as you let yourself drift toward the edges of sleep, I want to offer you one more thing. Jung talked about what he called the transcendent function, the capacity of the psyche to hold opposites without resolving them, to say both this is true and this is also true. Both I am tired and I have strength. Both I have given too much and I have loved genuinely. Both I have abandoned myself and I am capable of coming home. All of it is true. None of it cancels the other out. You can be simultaneously the person who has been lost and the person who is finding her way back. You can hold the grief for the years of self-abandonment alongside the genuine hope and intention to do differently now. You can honor how far you have come while also acknowledging how far there still is to go. This is not contradiction. This is wholeness. This is what it looks like to hold the full truth of a human life without flinching. And it is, I believe, one of the bravest and most beautiful things a person can do. You are doing it right now. By being here, by listening, by letting these words find the places in you that needed to hear them, you are already doing the work, already beginning the return. Let yourself drift now. Let the words become quieter and the silence become fuller. Let your body be heavy and warm and held. Let the night do what the night does best, which is to offer you the rest and the dreaming and the quiet unconscious processing that your waking life cannot quite reach. And as you drift, know this: the self you have been forgetting has not forgotten you. She is there, in the quiet, in the warmth, in the simple animal fact of your breathing body. She has been there all along. and she is glad you came back tonight. She is glad you are here. Rest now. Let everything else wait. It will all still be there tomorrow. The needs, the responsibilities, the lists, the world. All of it will wait. But right now, in this moment, there is only this. The quiet, the breath, the warmth, the night. And you, the actual you, the whole you, coming slowly, gently, one breath at a time, back home to yourself. Sleep now, rest now. You have done enough for today. And as you move toward the deeper quiet of sleep, I want to leave you with something to carry into your dreams tonight. A single question, not to be solved, but to be held in the soft awareness that exists just before sleep takes you. Who would you be? What would you do? How would you live if you truly believed in your bones that you were as worthy of care as everyone you have ever loved? Let that question dissolve into sleep. Let it do its quiet work in the dark. And when you wake, remember this. The Inner Circle on my Patreon is where this conversation continues. 3-hour episodes, the full work, the kind of depth that changes something that doesn't change back. The link is the first one in the description. If what you heard tonight felt like the beginning of something, that is where you go next. But for now, sleep. You have remembered something tonight. Something important, something true. You are also a person. You always were. Good night. Good night. Let the breath become slower now, and the thoughts become softer, and the body become heavier, and the night become deeper, and the self that has been waiting for so long, finally, rest. The house is quiet. The world is quiet. And you, at last, are quiet too. Sleep. Let yourself be held by the dark. Let it be gentle with you tonight. Let it give you back to yourself, slowly, through the hours, through the dreams, through the quiet, unconscious work that sleep makes possible. You don't have to do anything more tonight. You have already done the most important thing. You turned toward yourself. You showed up for yourself. You sat with the truth of your own experience without flinching. That is everything. That is the beginning of everything. Sleep now. Rest now. You are home. You are, and have always been, enough. Good night. Let the voice fade now. Let the silence take over. Let the night be soft and dark and full of the quiet dreaming that your soul has been waiting for. Let every breath take you deeper. Let every exhale release something that no longer needs to be held. Let the body do what bodies do in the dark, the healing, the restoring, the quiet and extraordinary work of simply being alive. You found this video for a reason. And if what you heard tonight felt like the beginning of something real, there is a room where that something continues. The Inner Circle on Patreon. The first link in the description. The place where the work goes all the way in, but that is for tomorrow. Tonight there is only this. The breath, the dark, the quiet, and you, finally, coming home. Sleep, rest. You are enough. You have always been enough. Good night. Script. But wait, I want to stay with you a little longer, because I think there is more that needs to be said. More that you deserve to hear tonight, before sleep fully takes you. So, let me keep my voice here with you a little while longer, soft and close, while the night holds us both. I want to talk about something that I have been thinking about for a long time. And that is the particular, specific, almost unbearable loneliness of the woman who is surrounded by people and still feels completely alone. You know this loneliness. I think you know it very well. It is not the loneliness of being physically isolated. It is the loneliness of being misunderstood, of being seen for the role rather than the person, of being valued for what you provide rather than for who you are, of performing closeness and warmth and connection while the actual you, the private you, the one with the complicated interior life and the unmet needs and the quietly desperate longing for someone to truly, genuinely see her, remains invisible. It is the loneliness of the person who listens to everyone and is listened to by no one, who holds everyone's pain and has nowhere to put her own. Who is described by others as the strong one, the one who has it together, the one who always knows what to do, while inside she is anything but. While inside she is exhausted and confused and frightened and in need of exactly the kind of care she provides so reliably to everyone else. This loneliness is one of the shadow's most common hiding places, because the caretaker has learned very early that her own pain is not welcome, that expressing it creates discomfort in others, that the people around her have come to depend on her being okay, and that if she is not okay, if she admits to struggle or exhaustion or the depth of her own need, something in the social ecosystem around her shifts in uncomfortable ways. So she learns to manage her pain privately, to process it alone, at night, in the quiet, after everyone else is taken care of. She learns to be her own therapist, her own comforter, her own witness. She learns to need less, or at least to appear to need less, because needing has been made to feel too costly. And this learned self-sufficiency, this armor of apparent wholeness, is one of the most isolating things a human being can carry, because it makes genuine intimacy almost impossible, because genuine intimacy requires vulnerability, requires the willingness to be seen in your incompleteness, requires the ability to say, I don't have it together right now. I need something. Can you be here with me? And the woman who has never been safe enough to do that, who has learned that her needs create burdens and her vulnerabilities create discomfort, she has built a wall that keeps people at exactly the distance that feels safe, close enough to give to, too far to truly receive from. Does this resonate? I ask gently, not to open a wound without being willing to sit with it, but because I think recognizing this pattern is the first step toward changing it, and I want to sit with it with you, right here, in this quiet, because the loneliness does not have to be permanent. The wall does not have to stand forever. The capacity for genuine intimacy, for true mutuality, for relationships in which you are as cared for as you are caring, that capacity is not gone. It may be buried. It may be frightened. It may be so unfamiliar that receiving feels almost more uncomfortable than continuing to give. But it is there, and it can be recovered. Not all at once, not by force, not through a single courageous conversation or a single vulnerable moment, but gradually, through the accumulation of small acts of allowing yourself to be seen, to be less than perfect, to have needs, to ask for things, to receive what is offered, without immediately deflecting it, or minimizing it, or turning the attention back to someone else. This is the practice. Letting yourself be cared for, letting yourself receive, letting the wall come down, not all at once, but brick by brick, in the moments when it feels possible, when there is someone trustworthy enough to show a little of what is actually there. And in the meantime, in the spaces between those moments, there is this conversation, this quiet acknowledgement that you exist, fully, complexly, needfully, beautifully, exactly as you are, that you deserve to be seen, that you deserve to be held, that your needs and your desires and your interior life are not burdens to be managed, but gifts to be honored. I want to go somewhere a little deeper now. I want to talk about anger, because for the woman who has forgotten she is also a person, anger is one of the most exiled and most important shadow contents she carries. Anger, for her, was not safe. Early in her life, she learned that her anger was unwelcome, that expressing it created conflict or withdrawal or shame, that the people she needed most responded badly to her anger, either by becoming angry themselves in ways that frightened her, or by becoming cold and distant in ways that felt like abandonment. Either way, the message was clear. Your anger is dangerous. Your anger will cost you something you cannot afford to lose. So she learned to suppress it, to convert it, to take the anger and alchemize it, very quickly, into something more acceptable, into understanding, into forgiveness, into the generous interpretation of whoever had done the thing that warranted the anger in the first place, into the story that maybe she was overreacting, maybe she was being too sensitive, maybe she had no right to be angry, and the anger went underground, into the shadow, where it has been living ever since, transforming slowly, over years and decades, into the things suppressed anger always becomes: depression. Because depression is often anger turned inward, anger that has nowhere safe to go except back toward the self. Chronic low-grade resentment, the slow simmer of unexpressed anger that lives just beneath the surface of every relationship, shaping the quality of her presence in ways she can sense but not quite name. Physical symptoms: the tension in the jaw, the tightness in the chest, the chronic headaches, the digestive problems, the autoimmune conditions that accumulate when the body has been carrying what the mind refuses to feel, and the thing that makes her most uncomfortable in others, the thing that triggers her most reliably. Often, for the woman who has deeply exiled her anger, it is the anger of other people. The person who expresses anger freely, who sets limits loudly, who refuses to accommodate, who takes up space in ways that feel aggressive, that person is deeply triggering. Not always because they are doing something wrong, but because they are doing something she has never allowed herself to do. They are being angry, openly, without apology. And the trigger is the shadow speaking. The trigger is the mirror. The trigger is her own exiled anger, recognizing itself in someone else and generating discomfort because it is so close to home. I want to say something about anger that I think is one of the most important things I can say tonight. Anger is not the opposite of love. Anger is not the enemy of kindness. Anger is not a spiritual failure or a character flaw or evidence that you are not evolved enough. Anger is information. Clean, important, protective information. It is the psyche saying, something is wrong here. A limit has been crossed. A need has been ignored. A truth has been suppressed. A person, namely you, is being treated in a way that is not okay. And the anger that arises in response to those things is not a problem. It is a signal. It is the healthy, self-respecting part of you saying, I matter, my needs matter, my limits matter. What just happened is not okay. Reclaiming your anger, the healthy version of it, the signal version rather than the explosive version, is an essential part of coming home to yourself. Not to become a person who is constantly angry, but to stop being a person who is never angry when anger is entirely appropriate. To restore the natural, protective function that anger is supposed to serve. And the way you do that is not by learning to express anger more aggressively. It is by learning to feel it honestly first, to let it be there, to say, I am angry about this, and that is real, and it is pointing towards something important, and then to ask, what is it pointing toward? What limit was crossed? What need was ignored? What truth needs to be said? Because the truth is the destination. The anger is just the arrow pointing toward it. Let your breath be slow. Let your body be soft. Whatever the anger is pointing toward in your own life, you don't have to do anything about it tonight. You just have to be willing to feel it, to let it be real, to stop converting it into something more acceptable, and just let it be what it is. That is enough for now. That is actually quite a lot. Now I want to talk about something that I find deeply beautiful in Jung's work, and that is his understanding of what he called the second wind of life. He believed, based on what he saw in his patients and experienced in himself, that there is a particular kind of renewal that becomes available to people in the second half of life, specifically when they are willing to do the inner work. A renewal that is different in quality from the energy and drive of youth, less urgent, less striving, less about proving and achieving, but deeper, more grounded, more in tune with what actually matters. He described it as a kind of aliveness that comes from having finally stopped running from yourself, from having made peace, gradually and imperfectly, with the whole of who you are. From having integrated enough of the shadow, reclaimed enough of the unlived life, loosened enough of the persona, to finally be living something closer to your actual life, rather than the performed version. This is not a small thing. This is not a consolation prize for getting older. This is one of the most extraordinary things a human being can experience. The sense of finally, after all of it, arriving, of being in your own life rather than managing it from a distance, of being moved by things again in ways you had forgotten were possible, of wanting things again, real things, your things, not what you think you should want or what the role requires you to want, but what you actually want. And I want you to know, because I think you need to hear it, that this is available to you, whatever your age, whatever stage of the journey you are in, whatever the accumulated weight of the years of self-abandonment. The renewal is possible. The second wind is real. The return to yourself is not just a metaphor. It begins with exactly what you are doing right now, with the willingness to turn toward yourself, with the courage to let the truth of your experience be felt rather than managed, with the small, daily, imperfect practice of asking yourself how you are and waiting for the real answer. It builds from there, slowly, in the way that real things build. Not dramatically, not all at once, but steadily, faithfully, like water, finding its way back to its source. And one day, not in some distant future, not after you have completed some impossible amount of work and earned some impossible level of healing, but one ordinary day, not long from now, you will notice something, a moment when you felt fully present, when you felt, for no particular reason, completely yourself, when the performance paused and the role fell away and there was just you, alive and real and enough. That moment is coming. More of those moments are coming. And the work you are doing right now, even in the simple act of lying here and letting these words in, is preparing the ground for them. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust the self that has been waiting. It has been patient. It will keep being patient. It is not going anywhere, and neither am I. Let me stay with you a little longer tonight. Let me keep going, because I think you need more than the beginning of this. I think you need the middle and the end, and all the quiet spaces in between where the real settling happens. I want to talk about what Jung called projection, and I want to talk about it in the specific context we've been in all night. The context of the woman who gives too much and receives too little. Projection, in Jung's understanding, is when we see in others what we cannot see in ourselves. When we attribute to other people the qualities, impulses, and feelings that we have exiled in ourselves. It is one of the shadow's most reliable mechanisms. And it is, for the caretaker, one of the most quietly costly. Because here is what often happens for the woman who has exiled her own needs. She becomes extraordinarily sensitive to the needs of others. And I mean this in the most literal sense. She can feel the needs of others almost before they can feel them themselves. She is attuned, finely and precisely, to the emotional states of the people around her, and this is, in part, a genuine gift. The empathic attunement that allows her to offer care before it is even asked for, that is real and valuable and deeply loving. But there is also, beneath it, a projection. Because she is seeing, in the needs of others, the needs she has exiled in herself, she is drawn to take care of what she cannot allow herself to have. She is moved to soothe what she cannot allow herself to feel. She is compelled to fill what she cannot allow to be empty in herself. And this is not a conscious process. She is not choosing to do this. The psyche is doing it. The shadow is doing it. The exiled needs are finding a way to be met, indirectly, through the meeting of other people's needs. The part of her that wanted to be soothed is finding some relief in the soothing of others. The part of her that needed to be seen is finding some surrogate satisfaction in seeing others clearly. But surrogate satisfaction is not real satisfaction. And the indirect meeting of needs is not the same as the direct meeting of needs. And the accumulation of this indirect strategy, over years and decades, produces exactly the depletion we have been talking about all night. The hollow exhaustion, the going through the motions, the sense of giving without receiving, serving without being served, caring without being cared for. The way through this is to withdraw the projection, to begin to recognize, gently and without judgment, when you are drawn to take care of someone else's need, and to ask yourself, is there a version of this need in me right now? Am I drawn to soothe this person in part because there is something in me that needs soothing? Am I drawn to see this person clearly in part because I am longing to be seen? And if the answer is yes, to give yourself something too, not instead of the other person, but alongside. To say, I see that you need this, and I am going to offer it to you. And also, I notice that I need something too, and I am going to find a way to offer that to myself. This is the integration of the caretaker shadow. This is the practice of loving yourself as you love others, not as a grand gesture or a dramatic change, but as a small, specific daily act of including yourself in the circle of your own care. You are worth including. You have always been worth including. You simply forgot for a while, and now you are remembering. Let your body settle deeper. The breath is slower now. The thoughts are softer. The night is doing its quiet work. Let it. I want to offer you something now that comes from a place of genuine tenderness for you, and that is this. Everything we have talked about tonight, the persona and the shadow and the unlived life and the exiled needs and the borrowed identity and the suppressed anger and the complicated grief of the woman who forgot she was also a person, all of it is real. All of it deserves the time and attention and care we have given it tonight. And it is also not all of who you are, because alongside all of that, there is the love you have genuinely given. The real, true, deep love that has moved through you toward the people in your life. That love was not a performance. That love was not only compensation or wound-driven giving. It was real. It was yours. It came from the genuine depths of a genuinely loving person. And alongside the exiled needs, there is genuine strength. The real, hard-earned, tested by life strength of someone who has carried a great deal and kept going. That strength is not the armor. It is not the persona. It is the actual core of someone who has faced difficulty and not been destroyed by it. And alongside the grief, there is gratitude, the real kind, the kind that coexists with grief and does not cancel it out. The gratitude for the moments of genuine connection, genuine beauty, genuine aliveness that have been woven through even the hardest chapters of your life. All of it is true at once. The wound and the strength. The grief and the gratitude. The self that got lost and the self that is finding its way back. The person you had to become and the person you actually are. This is what Jung meant by the transcendent function. The capacity to hold the full complexity of your own life without needing to collapse it into a simpler story. To say, all of this is true, and I am the person who lived all of it, and I am still here, and I am still becoming, and that is extraordinary. You are extraordinary, not in the performed sense, not in the Instagram sense, in the actual, human, specific sense of someone who has been genuinely alive for a significant amount of time, who has genuinely loved and genuinely struggled and genuinely persisted, and who is, tonight, genuinely doing the work of coming home. That is extraordinary. And I want you to let yourself feel that, even if only for a moment, before sleep takes you. Let it in. Let the recognition land. You have done something real tonight. You have turned toward yourself. You have sat with the truth of your own experience. You have let something be named that perhaps has not been named quite this directly before. That is not nothing. That is the beginning of everything. Let your breath become slower now. Let the words begin to blur at the edges. Let sleep begin to take the foreground. The night is ready for you. Your body is ready for you. The deep rest that you so genuinely deserve is waiting, just a little further down, just a few more breaths. And as you drift, I want you to carry this, just this one thing. Carry it into your dreams and let it work on you in the dark. You are a person, not just a role. not just a function, not just the sum of what you provide, a full, real, deserving, complex, feeling, wanting, needing, dreaming person. And you always were, and you always will be. Sleep now. Rest now. You have done enough. You are enough. Tonight, you came back to yourself, even just a little. And that little is the seed of everything that comes next. Good night. Good night. Good night. Let the voice go now. Let the silence come. Let the night be soft and dark and endlessly patient. Let your breathing be the only sound. In and out. In and out. The body knowing, even without your conscious direction, exactly what to do. This is enough. You are enough. Come home. Sleep. And one last thing, before you go completely, when you wake tomorrow, and the list reasserts itself, and the needs of others press in from all directions, and the pull toward the familiar pattern of giving before receiving starts again, I want you to remember this moment, this quiet, this recognition, this small but real act of turning toward yourself. Remember that the inner circle on Patreon is where this conversation continues, every week, in the depth that this channel cannot hold. The link is the first one in the description. The door is open, the room is warm, and the people inside it are doing exactly what you did tonight, turning toward themselves, coming home. But for now, for tonight, for this moment that is entirely yours, sleep. You are home. Good night. Let me keep going, because there is more. There is always more, when you are willing to go deep enough. And tonight I want to go all the way with you. I want to talk about something that I think lives at the very center of what we have been circling all night. And that is the relationship between self-forgetting and love. Between the woman who forgot she was also a person and the people she forgot herself for. Because here is something that is almost never said honestly in conversations about self-love and boundaries and the exhausted giver. The people you gave yourself for were not, in most cases, demanding your self-erasure. They were not, in most cases, deliberately exploiting your willingness to put yourself last. The dynamic that developed, the one that has left you depleted and invisible and quietly grieving your own unlived life, that dynamic was usually not something anyone consciously chose. It developed, as these things always do, between two sets of unspoken agreements, between your willingness to give and their willingness to receive, between your learned belief that your worth was in your usefulness and their learned belief that taking what was offered was acceptable, between your shadow and their shadow, meeting in the space between you and creating a dynamic that neither of you fully understood and neither of you fully chose, but both of you participated in. This does not mean you bear no responsibility. Of course you do. You chose, again and again, to override your own needs. You chose, again and again, to say yes when you meant no. You chose, again and again, to be fine when you were not fine. And those choices had consequences, but the person who made those choices was not making them from strength. She was making them from fear, from the very old, very deep belief that her needs were a burden, that her limits were a betrayal, that the love she received was conditional on the giving she provided, and the person she gave to, in most cases, did not create that belief. They simply benefited from it, without perhaps fully understanding what it was costing her, without perhaps fully registering that the arrangement was not as balanced as it appeared. And this is where something complicated but important needs to be said. Changing this dynamic does not require leaving everyone you love. It does not require dramatically confronting everyone who has benefited from your self-erasure. It does not require a reckoning or an accounting or a redistribution of all the years of imbalance. What it requires is something quieter but more fundamental. It requires that you change your relationship with yourself. Because when that changes, when you begin to believe, even a little, that your needs matter and your limits are real and your worth is not conditional on your usefulness, the dynamic changes. Not because you forced it to change, but because the agreements shift. Because what you are willing to offer shifts. Because what you are able to offer shifts, since you are no longer offering from the wound but from genuine choice, and the people who love you genuinely will adapt. They will, perhaps with some initial surprise and some adjustment, meet you in the new arrangement. They will discover that the relationship is actually richer and more real when both people are fully present, rather than one person perpetually self-erasing for the other. And the people who cannot adapt, who are only able to be in relationship with the diminished version of you, who needed your self-erasure in order to feel okay, those relationships will shift in ways that are painful but necessary. Because a relationship that requires your self-abandonment as its operating condition is not a relationship that was ever truly serving you. And the version of love that it offered, however real it felt, was love that was conditional on your smallness. You deserve more than that. You have always deserved more than that. Let that land. Let it be tender. Because it is tender. The recognition of what you have accepted in the name of love, the grief of it, the anger of it, the hope, still alive somewhere in you, that love that doesn't require your erasure is possible. It is possible. It is more than possible. It is what love is supposed to be. And you are, tonight, beginning to clear the ground for it. Let's breathe. Let the body be soft. Let the night continue to do its quiet work. I want to tell you about a woman Jung wrote about, though he wrote about her in theoretical rather than personal terms, as he often did when the material was closest to his own clinical experience. He wrote about the woman who had given so much to others that when she finally sat down in the late quiet of her life and asked herself what she had wanted, what she had truly wanted all along, she could not answer. Not because the wanting had never been there, but because it had been so long since she had allowed herself to acknowledge it that the thread back to it had become very thin indeed. And Jung, who was not given to sentimentality, was moved by this. He wrote about it with a kind of sad recognition, a recognition that the loss of the self to the service of others is one of the most common and least grieved tragedies of the human condition. Common because the culture rewards it, rewards the giving woman, the selfless mother, the tireless support, the one who never complains. And least grieved because the woman herself has so thoroughly absorbed the cultural message that her own inner life is secondary, that she does not recognize it as a loss. She experiences it as just how things are, how they were always going to be, how they are supposed to be. And Jung wanted to say, gently but clearly, no, that is not how they are supposed to be. That is a distortion, a wound, a loss, and it deserves to be named as such. So I am naming it, right now, for you. What you have lost in the years of self-forgetting is real. The time spent giving from empty rather than full is real. The needs unmet and the desires unexpressed, and the voice unsaid and the rest not taken, and the pleasure not received, and the life not fully lived because there was always someone else's life to attend to first. All of that is real, and it deserves to be grieved. Not in a way that collapses you, not in a way that produces shame or bitterness or a calcifying resentment toward the people you love, but in the honest, unflinching way that real grief moves, in waves, sometimes when you expect it and sometimes when you don't, quietly, usually, in the nighttime, often. In the moments when the noise dies down and there is finally enough space for the truth to surface. Let the grief come when it comes. Don't rush it toward resolution. Don't convert it into something more manageable before it has been fully felt. Let it be what it is, for as long as it needs to be what it is. And trust that on the other side of it, not after it is finished, because grief is rarely finished, but alongside it and through it and beyond its most acute moments, there is something else waiting. There is space, there is possibility. There is the quiet but genuine excitement of a life that is beginning to be organized around your actual needs and desires rather than your performed ones. There is the strange, unfamiliar, slightly terrifying and deeply liberating experience of finding out who you are when you are not being who everyone else needs you to be. That is waiting for you. I am not promising you a perfect life or a painless transformation or an easy path. I am promising you that the self you have been forgetting is real, is worth returning to, is waiting with extraordinary patience for you to come back. And you are coming back, right now, in this quiet. With each breath that is yours and only yours, you are coming back. Good. Just breathe. Just let yourself be here. There is nothing you need to do right now except be here. I want to take us now into something that I think is one of the most practical and most transformative aspects of all of this work. And that is the concept of the authentic life. What would your life look like if it were organized around who you actually are, rather than who you have learned to perform being? This is not a rhetorical question. I mean it as a genuine inquiry. Because I think for many women, for many of the people listening to this tonight, the authentic life, the life that reflects their actual values and desires and needs and ways of being in the world, is something that exists primarily in the imagination, in the secret hopes, in the quiet fantasies that come in the in-between moments, the driving alone, the waking early, the lying here at night before sleep. And I want to ask you to take those fantasies seriously tonight. Not to immediately turn them into plans or goals or action items, but simply to acknowledge that they are real, that the things you imagine for yourself, the things you quietly want, the life you see in the periphery of your vision when you let yourself look, those things are not delusions or impractical daydreams or evidence of dissatisfaction with what you have. They are your unlived life pressing toward expression. They are the deeper self making its preferences known. They are the map of the territory you have not yet entered, but that has been yours all along. What is on that map for you? Take your time. Let the images come softly. Not the grand gestures, not the dramatic life overhauls, though those might be there too, but the small ones too, the quiet ones. The ones that are almost too modest to call desires because they are so specific and so personal that they feel almost embarrassing to want. The particular way you would spend a Tuesday afternoon if it were entirely yours. The book you have been meaning to read for years. The creative thing you put down when life got busy that you have never quite let yourself pick back up. The place you have always wanted to go. The conversation you have always wanted to have. The version of yourself you have caught glimpses of in good moments and wondered if you could live there more permanently. These things are real. They deserve to be taken seriously. They are not selfish. They are not impractical. They are the deep and legitimate desires of a full human person who has a right to her own life, and they are waiting. Breathe. Let your body sink. Let the images drift and settle like leaves on still water. They don't have to go anywhere tonight. They just have to be acknowledged. They just have to know that you see them, that you haven't forgotten them, that you are, slowly but genuinely, making your way back. I want to tell you one more thing about Jung before we move towards sleep. He lived a long life. He was in his 80s when he finished his memoir, which was published after his death. And in that memoir, looking back over a long and extraordinary life, over decades of extraordinary inner exploration and outer achievement and genuine suffering and genuine joy, he wrote something that I have thought about many times. He wrote about the importance of having lived, not of having achieved or succeeded or been recognized, of having lived, of having been genuinely present to the experience of being alive, of having allowed the full range of that experience, the beauty and the pain, the light and the dark, the love and the grief, to actually land, to actually register, to actually matter. He wrote about the tragedy, as he saw it, of the unlived life, of the years spent managing rather than living, of the interior distance many people maintain from their own experience, the buffer of busyness and performance and persona that keeps the raw fact of being alive at arm's length, of how many people reach the end of their lives and discover, to their genuine sorrow, that they were never really there, that they managed their lives beautifully but never inhabited them, And I think about that often, in relation to myself, in relation to the people I care about, in relation to you, the person listening to this tonight. I want you to inhabit your life, not to manage it from a distance, not to perform it for an audience, not to organize it primarily around the needs and comfort and approval of others, but to actually be in it, to feel what it feels like from the inside, to let it matter to you, to let yourself matter in it. You have this one life, this particular, specific, unrepeatable life, with its particular losses and its particular gifts and its particular people and its particular moments of beauty that have already happened and its particular moments that are still to come, and the woman who is in it fully, who is genuinely present to her own experience, who knows what she wants and allows herself to want it and moves toward it with the same energy and love and commitment she has been directing outward for so long. That woman is not selfish, she is alive. She is what Jung was pointing toward when he talked about individuation. She is the whole point. You can be that woman. You are already becoming her. In this quiet, in this breath, in the simple, radical act of having stayed with this conversation long enough to let something land, I am proud of you for being here. I mean that. It is not a small thing to turn toward yourself. It is, in the context of a life organized around turning toward everyone else, an act of quiet revolution. Keep going, keep coming back, keep asking how you are, and waiting for the real answer. Keep honoring your limits, and claiming your desires, and speaking your truth, and taking your rest, and being the full person that you are, and always have been. The Inner Circle on Patreon is where this work continues in full depth, every states, week, 3-hour conversations. The real Jung, the real work. No algorithm, no limits, no surface level anything. The link is the first one in your description. For the person who is done searching and ready to actually arrive, that is where you go. But right now, tonight, here, in this quiet, and this dark, and this breath, you are already there. You are already home. Let sleep come now. Let it come gently and completely. Let the body do its extraordinary night work of healing and restoring and integrating. Let the dreams carry whatever needs to be carried into the deeper processing that only sleep makes possible. And when you wake, you will be a little different from who you were before you pressed play tonight. Not dramatically, not in ways anyone else will necessarily notice, but in the way that real things shift, quietly, from the inside. The thread back to yourself is a little less thin than it was. The voice of the deeper self is a little clearer. The recognition that you are also a person, not just a role, not just a function, but an actual, full, deserving person. That recognition is a little more settled in you, and that is more than enough for one night. Good night, genuinely, warmly. With all the care and tenderness that I have for you, the person I have been sitting with all these hours, you came home tonight. Welcome back. Sleep now. Let the breath slow. Let the thoughts dissolve. Let the body be heavy and warm and safe. You are safe. You are held. The night is patient. The dark is kind. And you, finally, are resting. Good night. Sleep. You are enough. You are more than enough. You always were. Good night. Yes, just like that. Let the breath come and go without any help from you. Let the body do what it knows how to do. Let the mind release its grip on the day, on the list, on the needs of others, on all of it, just for now, just for these hours of the night that belong entirely to you. The morning will come. The world will make its demands again. The list will reassert itself, and the needs will press in, and the familiar pull toward the familiar patterns will be there, as it always is. But you will meet it a little differently, because something shifted tonight. Something quiet and real and important shifted. And that shift does not undo itself in the morning. It stays. It builds. It accumulates, one quiet night of turning toward yourself at a time, into something that eventually changes everything. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Sleep now. You are home. Good night. Still here, still with you, because there is more that wants to be said tonight, more that you deserve to hear. So let my voice stay with you a little longer, soft and close, while the night deepens and the body grows heavier and the quiet becomes fuller. I want to talk about something that I think is profoundly important and almost never discussed honestly. And that is the relationship between self-forgetting and creativity. Because the woman who has given herself away does not only lose her needs and her desires and her rest and her voice, she also, quietly and over time, loses her creativity, her aliveness, the particular, irreplaceable quality of her presence that is entirely and only hers. Jung was deeply interested in creativity. He spent decades thinking and writing about it. And one of the things he understood about the creative impulse is that it is not separate from the rest of the psyche. It does not exist in some isolated artistic zone that is unaffected by the rest of your psychological life. It is intimately, essentially connected to the health of the whole self. When the shadow is large, when significant parts of the self have been exiled, when the persona has become too rigid and the unlived life has accumulated too heavily, the creative impulse dims, not always dramatically, not always in ways that are immediately obvious. But there is a quality of aliveness, a quality of freshness and spontaneity and genuine originality that becomes harder to access. Because creativity requires contact with the interior. It requires being willing to go into the depths and bring back what is there. And when the depths are full of exiled material that we are afraid to look at, the door to them closes. This is why so many deeply giving people, deeply caring, deeply other-oriented people, reach a point in their lives where they feel creatively dry, where the things that once brought them joy no longer quite reach them, where the particular light that used to flicker in them seems to have gone quiet. It has not gone out, it has gone inward. It is in the shadow, waiting with everything else. And the path back to it runs through exactly the territory we have been in tonight, through the willingness to feel what has been avoided, to name what has been unnamed, to reclaim what has been exiled, to turn toward the self that has been forgotten and say, I'm here. I came back. Because when you begin to do that, when the shadow begins to release some of its contents, and the unlived life begins to find expression, and the authentic self begins to surface from beneath the persona, the creativity comes back too, quietly at first, and then with a kind of surprising, almost embarrassing urgency. The things you used to love, the ideas that come unbidden, the images and words and impulses that surface in the quiet moments when the performance finally pauses, that is your deeper self trying to express itself. That is the river finding its way back to the sea. And it deserves to be followed, even in small ways, even in stolen hours, even imperfectly and without an audience and without any practical justification whatsoever. It deserves to be followed because it is yours. Because it is one of the clearest signals available to you about who you actually are, beneath all of the roles and the giving and the management. What would you create if you gave yourself permission? What would you make or write, or sing, or build or grow, or explore, if you believed your inner life was worth expressing? What has been waiting in you, quietly, for permission? Let that question rest somewhere soft as you continue to drift. Let it join the others we have been gathering tonight. Let them all be there together, these questions without immediate answers, doing their quiet and patient work in the space between sleeping and waking. Good. Just breathe. Let the body settle a little more. Now, I want to take us into something specific and practical, because I think this conversation has been full of important truths, and I want to make sure some of those truths have somewhere to land in the actual texture of your daily life. So let me offer you 5 things. 5 small, specific, entirely achievable practices that are in alignment with everything we have talked about tonight. Not because you have to do all of them or any of them, but because I want you to have something concrete to carry into the morning. The first is this: once a day, Ask yourself how you actually are, not how you are performing. Not how you would answer if someone asked at a party or at the school gate or in a passing conversation with a colleague, but how you actually are. And give the honest answer, even if only to yourself, even if only in the quiet of your own mind, because the practice of honest self-attunement is the foundation of everything else. The second is this. Notice your resentments, not to wallow in them, not to act on them immediately, but to treat them as information. Every time you feel that particular quality of quiet or not so quiet resentment that lives in the body as a tightening, a flattening, a sort of sick weight, ask yourself what that resentment is pointing toward. What need was not honored? What boundary was crossed? What truth was not spoken? The resentment is a map. Learn to read it. The third is this. Do one thing a day that is purely for you, not for anyone else. Not because it makes you a better parent or partner or employee or friend, just because you want to. Because it brings you pleasure or rest or creative satisfaction or simple animal enjoyment. It does not have to be grand. It does not have to take long. 1 cup of tea drunk in actual quiet. 1 walk taken at your own pace with no agenda. 1 page of the book you have been meaning to read. 1 moment of doing something that is yours. The fourth is this. Practice receiving. Start very small. When someone offers you something, a compliment, a kindness, a gesture of care, instead of deflecting it or immediately redirecting attention back to them, let it land. Say thank you and mean it. Let yourself feel, even briefly, what it is like to receive rather than only give. Because receiving is a skill that atrophies when it is never practiced. And rebuilding it starts with the smallest moments. And the fifth is this. Be gentle with yourself when you fall back into the old patterns, because you will. Not because you are weak or unhealed or doing it wrong, but because patterns that were built over decades do not dissolve in a single night. They thin gradually. They loosen over time. They shift in the direction of change through the accumulation of small choices rather than through a single dramatic transformation. So when you find yourself giving from empty again, or saying yes when you mean no again, or managing everyone else's feelings at the expense of your own again, please do not respond with harshness or judgment or the sense that you have failed and are back at the beginning. Respond the way you would respond to a friend who had a hard day, with compassion, with patience, with the steady recognition that this is hard and you are doing your best, and tomorrow is another chance. You are learning. You have been unlearning a lifetime of conditioning. Give yourself the grace that you would give anyone you love. That is enough. That is more than enough. Those 5 things, practiced imperfectly and inconsistently over the coming weeks and months, will begin to change your relationship with yourself in ways that are real and durable and deeply yours. Let your body be heavy now. The breath is slow. The night is full and quiet. Let the thoughts that are still circling begin to slow their orbits. You don't have to think anymore tonight. You have thought enough. You have felt enough. You have been honest enough. Now it is time to simply be, to simply breathe, to simply rest in the extraordinary, unremarkable, entirely sufficient fact of being alive and here and exactly yourself. There is a quality to the late hours of the night that I find endlessly interesting from a Jungian perspective. Jung wrote a great deal about what he called the night world, the interior landscape that opens up when the day world, with its demands and its performances and its bright rational management, recedes. The night world is the world of the unconscious, the world of symbols and feelings and images and the deeper currents of the psyche that the daylight hours make inaccessible. And there is something about lying here, in the dark, in the quiet, in the liminal space between waking and sleeping, that opens a portal to that night world, that makes available a kind of knowing, a kind of feeling, a kind of contact with the deeper self that the busy waking hours simply cannot reach. You are in that portal right now. The night world is here, just beneath the surface of your awareness. And what lives there in your particular night world, is everything we have been talking about. The needs and the desires and the grief and the anger and the unlived life and the waiting self and the gold in the shadow and the second wind that is possible and the authentic life that is yours to live. All of it is there. All of it is real. All of it is yours. And the bridge to it is not effort. The bridge to it is not more doing or more achieving or more managing. The bridge to it is exactly what you are doing right now. Resting, receiving, letting go, allowing the conscious mind to soften its grip so the deeper self can surface. Trust the night. Trust the darkness. Trust the dreams that are already forming at the edges of your awareness, already beginning to carry the images and symbols and feelings that your psyche needs to process tonight. Trust the extraordinary intelligence of your own unconscious, which is at work always, even when you are not consciously directing it, integrating and processing and revealing and slowly, faithfully, always moving you toward wholeness. You are in good hands, your own hands. The deepest and wisest part of yourself is holding you tonight, as it always has been, as it always will be. You just have to let it. You just have to stop running long enough to be held. And you have done that tonight. You have stopped. You have been here. You have let something in that needed to come in. And that changes something. Not everything at once, but something. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Let the breath slow further now. Let the body grow warmer and heavier. Let the thoughts dissolve at the edges like fog burning off in the morning sun. Let sleep begin to take you, gently, with both hands, into the depths where the real rest and the real dreaming and the real unconscious work of a rich interior life happens. Jung, near the end of his life, was asked what he thought happened after death, and he said something that I find both mysterious and oddly comforting. He said, "I believe in the continuation of the soul, not as a dogmatic certainty but as a lived sense, accumulated over decades of encountering the psyche at its deepest levels, that the soul is real and substantial and not reducible to the physical processes that temporarily house it. I share that sense, not as dogma, not as a claim I can prove or that I am asking you to accept on faith, but as an orientation, as the lived feeling, accumulated in the deepest moments of genuine interior contact, that who you are is more than the roles you have played, and more than the wounds you have carried, and more than the years you have spent forgetting yourself. Who you are is something that goes all the way down, something ancient and enduring and irreducibly real, something that exists before and beneath and beyond all of the performances and the accommodations and the self-erasures, something that the shadow work is designed, at its best, to help you touch, to help you remember, to help you live from. And that something, that deepest something, is what has been with you all along, through the years of giving without receiving, through the years of being the strong one, through the years of putting yourself last and last and last, through the tiredness and the loneliness and the quiet grief of the unlived life. It has never left. It has never been diminished. It has never been made less real by anything you have been through. It is you, the irreducible you, the you that existed before the world started asking things of you, still intact, still present, still waiting with extraordinary patience and extraordinary love for you to find your way back. And tonight, you found your way back, a little, in this quiet, in this conversation, in the simple, brave act of listening to something that told you the truth about your own experience. That is not nothing. That is the beginning of everything. Come home now, into the deep rest of sleep, into the deep rest of sleep, into the warm dark, into the place where the deeper self lives and waits and dreams. You are home. You have always been home. You just forgot for a while, and now you are remembering. Sleep, rest, breathe, let go. You are enough. Good night. And the last thing before sleep takes you completely. The inner circle on my Patreon is where this conversation continues. in depth, every week, without limits. Where the real Jungian work happens in 3-hour conversations that don't soften the edges or manage the difficulty or keep the content algorithm safe. Where people who are done with the surface version of inner work come to do the real thing. The link is the first one in the description. If tonight felt like the beginning of something, that is where you go next. But that is for tomorrow. Tonight, sleep. You came back to yourself. That is everything. Good night. Good night. Good night. Still here. Still with you. The night is deep now and the quiet is full, and I want to give you more of this. More of the truth of what it means to be the woman who forgot herself and is, tonight, beginning to remember. I want to talk about something Jung observed in his clinical work that I think is one of the most quietly revolutionary insights in all of depth psychology. He observed that the things we most resist in ourselves are precisely the things that contain the most energy, the most life, the most potential. Think about what it takes to keep something suppressed. Think about the ongoing, continuous, exhausting effort required to hold something down, to keep something out of awareness, to maintain the structure of the persona in the face of the shadow pressing against it from below. That is not a passive process. That is an active, energy-consuming, life-draining process. And all of that energy, all of that psychological force that has been going into the suppression is freed when the suppression relaxes, when the shadow begins to be integrated rather than contained. When the exiled parts begin to be welcomed home rather than held at the border. This is why people who do genuine shadow work often describe an experience of increased aliveness, of more energy available, of a sense of coming back to life after a long period of going through the motions. It is not because they have added something new. It is because they have stopped spending so much energy on the suppression of what was already there. The energy was always yours. It was just being used against you rather than for you. And when it is released, when the suppression relaxes, it becomes available for the things you actually want to use it for the relationships you want to invest in, for the creative work you want to make, for the rest you want to take, for the desires you want to pursue, for the life you actually want to live. This is the gift that is waiting on the other side of this work. Not a life without difficulty, or without shadow, or without the inevitable complexities of being human, but a life in which more of your energy is genuinely available to you. A life in which you are less at war with yourself and more in cooperation with yourself. A life that feels, from the inside, more alive. And it begins with exactly what we have been doing tonight, with the willingness to name what is true, to feel what has been unfelt, to honor what has been dismissed, to turn toward what has been avoided, one breath at a time, one honest moment at a time, one small act of self-inclusion at a time. Let me take you somewhere specific now. I want to take you into the experience of what it actually feels like in the body when you are living from the authentic self rather than from the persona, because I think many women have forgotten what that feels like. I think it has been so long since they inhabited themselves fully that the felt sense of genuine presence has become unfamiliar. It feels like this. It feels like being completely in the room you are in, without part of your attention monitoring how you are being received, or managing how you are coming across, or calculating what is needed and whether you are providing it. It feels like your attention being actually here, in your own body, in your own experience, in the present moment, rather than distributed across everyone else's emotional states and needs. It feels like speaking and having the words come from somewhere real, rather than from the part of you that knows what is safe to say. It feels like laughing when something is actually funny, and not when something is socially required. It feels like having feelings, and not immediately wondering whether those feelings are appropriate, or whether they are too much. It feels like taking up the space you actually take up, rather than compressing yourself to take up less. Like being willing to disagree when you actually disagree. Like being willing to not know when you actually don't know. Like being willing to need when you actually need. It feels, in short, like being yourself, the actual you, the one that has been waiting. And here is what I want you to know about that feeling. It is available to you, not as some distant aspirational state that you might reach after years of intensive therapy and perfect self-awareness, but in the ordinary moments of your ordinary life. In the next conversation you have, in the next moment someone asks how you are, in the next moment a limit is approached and you feel the impulse to override it. In the next quiet moment, when you could give yourself something small and kind and entirely for you, the authentic self is available in those moments. It is just a question of practice, of choosing it again and again in the small ways until it becomes more natural than the performance. Until the performance, with all of its exhausting requirements, begins to feel like the thing that takes effort rather than the thing that is effortless. It gets easier, I promise you that. It gets easier. Breathe. Let the body be soft and heavy and warm. The night is very deep now. Sleep is close. Let it come. I want to tell you one more thing about the relationship between the woman who forgot herself and the people she loves, because I think this is where so much of the guilt and the resistance lives. In the fear that taking care of yourself means taking care of others less, that coming home to yourself means leaving the people you love. It doesn't. I want to be very clear about that. The woman who is genuinely present to herself, who knows what she needs, and honors her limits, and speaks her truth, and takes her rest, and inhabits her own life, rather than managing everyone else's from a distance, that woman does not love less, she loves better. She loves from a place of genuine choice rather than compulsive obligation. She loves from fullness rather than depletion. She loves from presence rather than performance. And her presence, her genuine, full, unperformed presence, is worth more to the people she loves than 1,000 performed kindnesses delivered from an empty tank. The children who are loved by a mother who is present to herself learn something extraordinary. They learn that women are also people. They learn that needs are not shameful. They learn that limits are not abandonment. They learn that love does not require self-erasure. And those lessons, carried into their own adult lives, change the patterns, break the cycles, make the world a little different in the most important possible way. The partners who are loved by a woman who is present to herself discover that the relationship is richer and more real when both people are genuinely there. When one person is not perpetually self-erasing to keep the other comfortable. When the dynamic shifts from managed performance to genuine encounter, the friends who are kept by a woman who is present to herself discover that the friendship is deeper and more honest when she brings her actual self rather than the curated version, when she can be not okay sometimes without the friendship cracking, when she can disagree without the whole thing imploding. Coming home to yourself does not diminish any of this. It enriches it. It makes all of it more real. So if the guilt says, you are being selfish, you are abandoning the people you love, please know that the guilt is the old belief system speaking, the one that has been running the show, the one that was never based in truth, the one that is dissolving, slowly, as you do this work. The truth is that you showing up more fully for yourself is the most loving thing you can do for the people you love. Not despite the fact that it includes you. Because it includes you, you deserve to be included in your own love. You have always deserved that. Let that be the last thought before sleep. That simple, radical, revolutionary truth. You deserve to be included in your own love. You always have. And from this night forward, slowly and imperfectly, and one small choice at a time, you are going to include yourself. Let your body be completely heavy now. Let your eyes be completely closed. Let the breath be completely natural, needing nothing from you, doing what it does beautifully on its own. Let the thoughts dissolve entirely. Let there be only the dark and the warmth and the quiet and the breath. You have been here for a long time tonight. You have given this time to yourself. That is already different. That is already the beginning. Sleep now, full and deep and undisturbed. The hours of the night are yours. The dreams are yours. The rest is yours. You deserve all of it. Good night. Good night. The breath, the dark, the quiet, the warmth, and you, whole and real, and finally, at rest. Good night. Let the voice become just a presence now, not words anymore, just a warmth in the dark, a hand held across the distance, a reminder that you are not alone in this work, that somewhere, right now, other women are lying in their own quiet, having their own versions of this, turning toward themselves, doing their own versions of this slow and necessary return. You are not alone. You were never alone. Even in the most isolated moments of the forgetting, the deeper self was there. The self, with a capital S, was there, patient and steady and enduring, holding everything that you had exiled, keeping it safe, waiting for this moment, right here, right now, where you turn toward yourself. That is enough. That is everything. Sleep, and the inner circle is waiting for you in the morning. The link is the first one in the description, the room where this work goes all the way in. For the people who are done with the surface and ready for the real thing, $9 a month. $19 for the full experience, the price of being taken seriously by yourself. Come home. But first, sleep. You deserve this rest. Good night. Let me stay a little longer still, because the night is long and there is more that wants to be said, and I think you deserve to have all of it before we finally let you sleep completely. I want to talk about something that I think is the final and perhaps most important piece of everything we have been exploring tonight. And that is the relationship between the woman who forgot herself and her relationship to time. Because one of the things that self-forgetting does, one of the quietest and most insidious things it does, is it steals your relationship to the present moment. When you are organized primarily around other people's needs and experiences and emotions, you are always, to some degree, living in their time rather than your own. Your attention is always slightly ahead of yourself, anticipating what will be needed next, or slightly beside yourself, monitoring how others are doing, or slightly behind yourself, reviewing what you provided and whether it was sufficient. You are almost never simply here, in your own moment, in your own experience, fully present to the simple, immediate, irreplaceable fact of being alive right now, in this body, in this breath, in this specific and unrepeatable instant, and that is a profound loss. Not dramatic, not the kind of loss that generates obvious grief, but a loss nonetheless. The loss of the present moment, accumulated over years, is the loss of your actual life. Because your actual life is not somewhere else. It is not in the future when things will finally be easier, or the children will be grown, or the work will slow down, or you will have finally earned enough rest to actually take it. Your actual life is here, now, in this moment. In every moment, as it comes and as it passes. And the woman who is living primarily in other people's time, who is always half elsewhere, half in the future, half beside herself, is missing it. Not because she doesn't care, but because the habit of self-dispersal has become so total that genuine presence to her own life, as it is actually happening, has become almost impossible. Jung talked about this in terms of what he called conscious living, the difference between going through life and actually experiencing it, between managing your existence and genuinely inhabiting it, between being the director of everyone else's experience and being a genuine participant in your own. And the practice of coming home to yourself is, in large part, the practice of coming home to the present moment, of being here, actually here, in your own skin, in your own breath, in your own experience, as it is happening, not perfectly, not constantly, but more than before, more consistently than the habit of self-dispersal allows. This is what the meditation tradition calls presence, what Jung would call conscious living. what I simply call being in your own life, rather than managing it from outside. And it is available to you in the most ordinary moments. In the moment of drinking a glass of water and actually tasting it. In the moment of looking at something beautiful and letting it actually land rather than noting it and moving on. In the moment of feeling a feeling and staying with it for 5 breaths rather than immediately converting it into action or distracting it away. These small acts of presence are not trivial. They are not beside the point. They are the point. They are the building blocks of a life that is genuinely inhabited, that is genuinely yours, and they are available to you right now, in this moment, as you lie here in the dark. The simple practice of being here, of feeling the weight of your body, of hearing the sounds of the night, whatever they are, of being fully, specifically, presently in this moment and no other. That is enough. That is actually everything. This moment, this breath, this body, this being alive. You are here, fully here. And that is a miracle, though it does not always feel like one. Breathe, just breathe. Let the breath be the whole world for a moment. There is something I want to offer you now that is, I think, one of the most practically useful things I know about the kind of work we have been doing tonight. And that is the importance of ritual. Jung was deeply interested in ritual. Not necessarily in the formal religious sense, though he was fascinated by religious ritual and what it revealed about the psychology of the cultures that practiced it. But in the broader sense of deliberate, repeated acts that connect the conscious to the unconscious, that signal to the deeper self that what is being done matters, that create a container for the interior life that the ordinary flow of daily life does not provide. For the woman who is trying to come back to herself, ritual is one of the most powerful tools available. Because ritual says, this time is different. This act is intentional. What I am doing right now is not just filling time or managing logistics. It is a practice. It is an acknowledgement that my interior life is real and important and deserving of dedicated time and attention. And the rituals do not have to be elaborate. They do not require candles or incense or specific times of day or any particular form. What matters is the intentionality, the deliberateness, the quality of attention you bring to the act. The morning cup of tea drunk in actual quiet, without a phone, without a list, without attending to anyone else's needs for those 5 or 10 minutes, can be a ritual. If you enter it with the intention of using it as a moment of contact with yourself, if you use that time to ask, how am I? If you use that time to simply be in your own experience for a few minutes before the demands of the day begin, the nighttime ritual of lying down and pressing play on something like this, something that asks you to turn inward, that offers you the company of someone who sees you and speaks honestly to your experience, that can be a ritual. That is, in fact, what this is. An evening ritual of coming home to yourself, of ending each day with a few hours in the company of your own interior life, guided by the wisdom of someone who understood the interior life as deeply as anyone ever has. And the things that happen inside the inner circle on Patreon, the extended meditations and the shadow work podcast episodes, and the written reflections and the shared practice of a community of people doing this work together, those are rituals too. The ritual of showing up, week after week, for the deeper conversation, of treating your interior life as something that deserves consistent, dedicated, ritualized attention, of belonging to a space that holds that intention with you. Because you cannot do this work entirely alone. You can do some of it alone. You can do a great deal of it alone, in the quiet of nights like this one. But the deeper work, the sustained work, the work that really changes things over time, that work is supported enormously by community, by the sense of not being the only one, by the knowledge that there are other women, right now, doing the same turning toward themselves that you are doing tonight, asking the same questions, feeling the same things, finding their way back to themselves in their own particular ways. That is what the inner circle offers, not just content, not just more things to consume, but community, a shared practice. A room where the work is treated seriously and consistently and with the depth it deserves. If that calls to you, the link is the first one in the description. Come find us. The door is open and the room is warm and the people inside it are doing exactly what you are doing right now, coming home. But for this moment, for this night, you are doing it right here, and that is enough. More than enough. Breathe. Let the night hold you. Let the body sink. Let the thoughts become distant and soft. Now, I want to offer you something to carry into your dreams. An image. A single, quiet image that I want to plant somewhere in the soft soil of your awareness as you drift towards sleep. Imagine a room that is entirely yours. Not a room in a house shared with others, not a room that belongs to any role you play or any relationship you maintain, but a room that is purely, privately, irreducibly yours. It looks however it needs to look for it to feel like yours. The colors and the light and the objects in it are exactly right. It is comfortable in exactly the way you find comfort. It holds the things that matter to you, the things that are evidence of who you actually are beneath all the roles and the giving and the management. And in this room, the version of you that you most deeply are, the one who has been waiting, is at home, is rested, is unhurried, has everything she needs, is not managing anything, is not attending to anyone, is simply, quietly, completely herself. She is reading something she loves, or looking out a window at something beautiful, or simply sitting in the quiet with a warmth in her chest that is not performance and not management and not giving. Just the simple animal warmth of being alive and being herself and having that be enough. That room is real. It exists inside you. It has always existed inside you. And the work we are doing together, tonight and in all the nights to come, is the work of finding your way back to it, of spending more time there, of letting it become more central to your experience of your own life rather than the peripheral thing it has been for so long. You deserve to live in that room more. You deserve to visit it daily. You deserve to let it be not just an occasional refuge, but the actual center of your life, the place you return to, the place you recognize as yours. That is what coming home means. That is what the individuation process is pointing toward. That room, yourself, home. Let the image settle. Let it become part of your dreaming. Let it work on you in the deep hours of the night, planting something that will grow slowly and quietly, and without your conscious direction, toward the life that is truly yours. Sleep now. Rest now. The image will be there when you wake. The room will still be there. And you, the woman who is remembering that she is also a person, will be a little closer to living in it. Good night. Let the voice become a whisper now. Let the whisper become a murmur. Let the murmur become the sound of breathing. Let the breathing become the sound of sleep. You have been here for a long time tonight. You have given yourself this gift, this time, this turning toward, this honest encounter with your own experience, this slow and necessary and beautiful beginning of the return. It matters. It will continue to matter. In ways you cannot fully predict and do not need to. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the process. And trust this. The self that has been waiting is not angry, is not impatient, is not keeping score of the years you spent away. It is simply glad you are coming back. Simply glad you found your way here tonight. Simply glad to feel the warmth of your attention turning toward it after so long. Welcome back. Welcome home. Sleep now. Breathe. The dark is gentle. The night is kind. You are enough. You are home. Good night. And the first link in the description is waiting for you in the morning if you want to go deeper. The inner circle. The real work. The room where the people who are done searching come to arrive. Come find us when you are ready. But for now, sleep. Good night. Let everything go. Just for tonight. You can pick it all back up tomorrow if you want to. But just for tonight, Let it go. Let yourself rest. You deserve this. You always have. Good night. Good night. Good night. But I am still here. The voice is still here. Because the night is generous, and there is more I want to give you. More of the real thing. More of the conversation that treats you like the full and complex and deserving person that you are. I want to talk about something that I think is one of the deepest wounds the caretaker carries, and one of the most rarely healed. And that is the wound of not having been witnessed. To witness someone is to truly see them, not to evaluate them, or help them, or fix them, or make use of them, but to simply see them, to register their experience, to acknowledge their reality, to say, I know you are there. I know what you are going through. You are not invisible. Most people have been witnessed to some degree in their lives. There are moments, scattered through even difficult childhoods and difficult adult lives, of genuine witnessing. The teacher who saw something in you, the friend who understood, the one conversation where someone really listened. The moment when you felt, however briefly, that you were not alone in your experience. But for the woman who became the caretaker, the witness was often missing in a very specific way. She became so skilled at seeing others that she became almost invisible herself. The more clearly she saw others, the less she was seen in return. The more she provided the witnessing that others needed, the less she received it. And this asymmetry, sustained over years, produces a wound that is subtle but deep. A sense of being seen through rather than seen. Of being known for your usefulness rather than for your interiority. Of your existence being registered primarily in terms of what you provide rather than what you are. This is why being here tonight, listening to this, matters more than it might appear to. Because this is, in a small but real way, an act of being witnessed. Of allowing someone, even a voice, even a recording, even this strange intimacy of the one-sided conversation in the dark, to see you, to register your experience, to acknowledge that what you have been carrying is real, and that you are more than the role you have been playing. And I want to say, as directly as I can, that I see you tonight, the you who is tired, the you who has been strong for so long, the you who has needs and desires and a rich interior life that rarely gets the attention it deserves. The you who has been quietly, persistently, courageously showing up for everyone else, while quietly, persistently, courageously waiting for someone to show up for you. I see you. You are not invisible to me. You are not reducible to your usefulness. You are not just a function or a role. You are a full human being, complex and deserving and real, and you deserve to be witnessed as such. Let that land. Let it do whatever it can in you. Even if it brings up grief, the grief of how long it has been since someone said that to you, or whether anyone has ever said that to you, let the grief come. It is real. It deserves to be felt. And on the other side of it, when the wave of it passes, there is often a quiet relief, the relief of having been seen, even once, even here, even like this. You are seen. Now, I want to talk about something practical and specific that I think is deeply relevant to the woman who has forgotten herself and is, tonight, beginning to remember. And that is the relationship between self-witnessing and journaling. Jung was himself an obsessive journaler. His famous red book, the illustrated manuscript he worked on for years following his confrontation with the unconscious, is essentially the record of his inner life during the most tumultuous and most important period of his own individuation. He used writing and drawing and active imagination as tools for making the contents of the unconscious visible, for witnessing himself, for being his own first and most faithful audience, and he advocated for this practice in his patients. Not as a form of therapy necessarily, not as something requiring interpretation or analysis, but as the simple, powerful practice of putting your interior life into some external form so that it can be witnessed. so that the feelings and images and thoughts and experiences that pass through you constantly, largely unregistered, can be given some shape and some permanence and some acknowledgement. For the woman who has never been fully witnessed, the practice of journaling is one of the most profound gifts she can give herself. Because it is, in its simplest form, the practice of witnessing yourself, of saying, "What is happening inside me matters enough to write down. My experience is real enough to deserve a record. I am worth attending to." It does not need to be literary. It does not need to be insightful or well expressed or in any way shareable. The most valuable journaling is often the least presentable. The raw and messy and honest, and sometimes barely coherent record of the actual inner life as it is happening. The anger that has nowhere else to go. The grief that needs to be traced into words. The desire that has been suppressed so long it can barely name itself. The questions without answers. The truths that are too tender to say aloud to anyone but that need to be said to someone, and so they are said to the page, which receives without judgment and holds without condition. If you do not currently journal, I want to encourage you to consider it, not as a spiritual practice or a productivity tool or a growth strategy, but as the simple act of being your own witness, of treating your inner life as real and important and worthy of attention, of beginning, on the page, the practice of turning toward yourself that we have been doing together tonight. You deserve a witness. Start by being your own. Let the breath slow now. Let the body be heavy and soft. The night is very deep. Sleep is very close. I want to offer you one final story before we go completely into the quiet. A small story. A simple one, but one that I think holds something important. There is a particular moment that Jung described, in various forms, across his writing. A moment that he observed again and again in his clinical work and in his own experience. The moment when someone who has been running from themselves, who has organized their entire life around avoiding the interior, who has been managing and performing and adapting and accommodating, finally, for whatever reason, stops. Just stops. Maybe it is a crisis that brings them to the stop. A breakdown or a loss or a diagnosis or an ending that makes the running impossible to sustain. Or maybe it is something quieter, a night like this one, a video that somehow reached through the performance and touched something real, a book that said something so precisely true that the armor cracked a little. A conversation that offered, unexpectedly, the experience of being genuinely seen. Whatever brings them to the stop, there is a moment of, oh, this is what has been here. This is what has been waiting. This is the interior, the actual self that I have been running from all this time. And it is not the monster I feared. It is, in fact, something I recognize. Something that is completely, unmistakably, irreducibly me. That moment of, oh, is one of the most important moments in a human life. It is the moment of genuine self-encounter. The moment when the performance pauses and the persona loosens, and what is beneath it, the actual self, makes itself known. I think something like that moment has been available to you tonight. I hope it has. I hope something in this long, quiet, honest conversation has touched something real in you, created a crack in the armor, offered a glimpse of the self that has been waiting. If it has, hold it gently. Don't analyze it to death or turn it immediately into a plan or a project. Just hold it. Let it be the small but real beginning of something. Let it be the first step of the return, because you are worth returning to. Your interior life is worth inhabiting. The self that has been waiting for you is worth meeting, and the meeting has begun. Tonight, here, in this quiet, that is everything. Sleep now, rest now. Let the night complete what we have begun. And in the morning, when you are ready, the first link in the description is waiting. The inner circle, the Patreon, the room where this conversation continues in full depth, week after week, with nothing held back. For the person who has found the crack in the armor and wants to widen it. For the woman who is done managing her life from the outside and wants to actually inhabit it. For the soul that is ready to come home. We are waiting for you there. But first, sleep, rest, breathe. You are enough. You are home. Good night. Let the words dissolve now. Let there be only breath, only dark. Only the extraordinary, ordinary miracle of being alive and here and at rest. You came home tonight. Good night. Breathe. Sleep. You are home. Good night. The voice is still here. Soft and present, because I want to give you the full thing tonight. The complete thing. I want you to have all of it. Let me talk now about what happens in the body when we finally stop running. Because I think this is something that is not talked about nearly enough in conversations about inner work and self-recovery. We talk about the psychological and the emotional and the spiritual dimensions of coming home to yourself. But the body, the actual physical body, deserves its own conversation. When you have been running from yourself for a long time, when you have been managing and performing and overriding and suppressing for years or decades, the body carries it. I have mentioned this before, but I want to go deeper into it now. In the quiet, in the place where your body is actually present and actually listening, the body carries the shadow. It carries the suppressed anger as tension in the jaw, on the shoulders, and the upper back. It carries the unexpressed grief as the tightness in the throat and the chest. It carries the unmet needs as the chronic exhaustion that sleep doesn't fully resolve. It carries the years of saying yes when you meant no as a particular quality of numbness, a disconnection from sensation, an inability to feel quite clearly from the inside of your own skin. And when the running stops, when the suppression relaxes even a little, the body begins to release. It is not always comfortable. Sometimes it is the opposite of comfortable. Sometimes it presents as sudden waves of emotion that seem to come from nowhere. Tears in unexpected moments, anger that surfaces without a clear cause, physical sensations, warmth or vibration, or the curious feeling of something shifting in the chest or the belly or the throat. That signal that something long held is beginning to move. These are not signs that something is wrong. These are signs that something long suppressed is finally finding its way to expression. The body has been waiting for permission to release what it has been holding, and the permission begins with the willingness to be honest, with the willingness to turn toward rather than away, with the simple, revolutionary act of lying in the dark and allowing yourself to feel whatever is there. So if anything is moving in your body tonight, if there is something releasing or surfacing or shifting in ways that are unfamiliar, please know that this is the work happening in you at the somatic level. At the level of the actual flesh and the actual nervous system that has been carrying so much for so long, let it happen. Welcome it gently. You don't have to understand it or analyze it or turn it into insight. You just have to let it move, because what moves through releases. And what releases heals. And what heals, slowly and imperfectly but genuinely, changes things. I want to offer you a simple practice right now as you lie here in the dark. A body-based practice that is in alignment with everything we have been exploring tonight. Bring your attention to your chest, not to your thoughts about your chest, not to any story about what is there or what it means. Just to the physical sensation of your chest right now, as it actually is. And notice, is there tightness there? Heaviness? A constriction of some kind? Or is there openness, warmth, a quality of ease? Whatever is there, just notice it, without judgment, without trying to change it. Just the simple act of bringing your attention there and registering what is actually present. And then, very gently, with the intention of offering your own body some of the care and attention you have been offering to everyone else. Place one hand on your chest. The physical contact of your own hand on your own body is, in its simple way, an act of self-witnessing, of saying, I am here, I am paying attention. This body, this chest, this heart, this carrying, matters to me. Stay with that for a few breaths. Let the hand be warm and present and patient. Let the chest receive the attention. Let whatever is there be acknowledged. This is a small thing, but it is not a trivial thing. The body registers care. It notices when it is attended to, rather than managed. It relaxes differently when it is touched with genuine presence, rather than functional necessity. And when it relaxes, when the armor begins to soften even a little, something beneath it can breathe. Let it breathe tonight. You have been holding it for a long time. Let it breathe. Good. Just let the hand rest there, or lower it if it is more comfortable. But keep the attention there, soft and present, for as long as it feels right. Let me talk now about something that I think is one of the most quietly important aspects of the Jungian work, and that is the concept of the inner marriage. Jung talked extensively about the psychological process he called the conjunctio, the union of opposites within the psyche. The coming together of the conscious and the unconscious, the persona and the shadow, the ego and the self, into something that functions as a genuine unity. Something he sometimes described using the medieval alchemical metaphor of the sacred marriage, the union of opposites that produces gold. In more ordinary language, what he was pointing toward is this. The wholeness that individuation produces is not the elimination of the opposites, but their reconciliation. It is not becoming only light by eliminating the dark. It is holding both. It is becoming large enough to contain both. It is the self becoming the container for the whole of the psyche, rather than just the acceptable parts. And for the woman we have been talking about tonight, this inner marriage has a particular form. It is the reconciliation of the giving self and the receiving self, the strong self and the vulnerable self, the one who cares for others and the one who allows herself to be cared for, the one who speaks and the one who is silent, the one who acts and the one who rests. These are not opposites to be eliminated. They are opposites to be married, to be brought into relationship with each other, to be allowed to coexist and inform each other and create, between them, something richer and more complete than either alone. The woman who is only giving and never receiving is half a person. The woman who is only receiving and never giving would also be half a person. The whole person, the individuated person, the person who has done enough of the inner marriage work to hold both, that person is able to give from genuine fullness and to receive without guilt. To care for others as an expression of genuine love, and to care for herself as an equal expression of the same love. That is the woman you are becoming, not through effort or willpower or self-improvement strategies, but through the slow, patient, organic process of turning toward yourself, of acknowledging what has been exiled, of making room for the receiving self alongside the giving self, of allowing the marriage of opposites that Jung believed was the deepest work available to a human being. And this marriage, like all marriages, takes time, takes commitment, takes the willingness to show up again and again in the good moments and the difficult ones, to keep choosing the relationship with yourself, even when the old patterns are pulling hard and the familiar exhaustion of giving without receiving feels like less work than the unfamiliar discomfort of including yourself. Keep choosing yourself, not instead of others, alongside. In addition, as the necessary foundation, without which the giving to others cannot be sustained or genuine, you are worth choosing. You have always been worth choosing. Let the breath be soft. Let the body be heavy. Let the mind release its last grip on the day. I want to tell you something about the morning, about what to expect when you wake up from tonight and re-enter the world. The world will be the same. The list will be there. The needs of others will be there. The familiar pull toward the familiar patterns will be there. All of it will be there, unchanged and undisturbed, waiting. But you will be a little different, not dramatically, not in ways anyone else will necessarily notice. but something will have shifted. Somewhere in the territory between where we started tonight and where we are now, something will have moved. You might notice it as a slight softening, a slightly increased capacity to feel, a slightly decreased tolerance for the most egregious forms of self-betrayal, a slightly increased awareness of the moments when the old pattern is starting, so that you have a fraction more choice about whether to follow it. Or you might not notice it consciously at all. It might simply be working underground, in the way that genuine transformation works, quietly and below the threshold of awareness, doing its slow and patient and ultimately life-changing work in the dark. Either way, trust it. Trust that tonight mattered. Trust that turning toward yourself, even in this way, even in the quiet of a late night with a voice in the dark, is real, is the work, is the beginning, and keep coming back. Not to this video necessarily, but to the practice, to the ritual of attending to your own interior life, to the commitment to being a person who treats her own inner world as real and important and deserving of consistent, dedicated care. And if you want to take the deeper step, if something in tonight's conversation has lit something in you, has made you feel the absence of what is available on the other side, the inner circle is there. 3-hour conversations that go all the way in. Extended meditations, shadow work that doesn't soften the edges. A community of women doing this work together. Real depth, the real thing. $9 a month for the Seeker tier. $19 for the full inner circle experience. The first link in the description. You have been searching for something real. It is there. But first, this, the quiet, the dark, the breath, the simple and extraordinary fact of being alive and here and tonight, finally, at rest. Sleep now. Let sleep come the rest of the way. Let it bring you the dreams that your psyche needs tonight. Let it bring you the deep rest that your body has earned. Let it bring you, in the morning, a little of the renewal that only genuine sleep provides. You deserve this rest. You have earned it. Not through anything you did tonight, not through anything you provided or managed or gave, simply by being alive, simply by being here, simply by being you. That was always enough to deserve rest. That will always be enough. Good night. Let the voice fade completely now. Let there be only breath, only dark. Only the soft sound of the night doing its quiet and generous work. You are held. You are home. You are enough. Good night. The breath, in and out, in and out. The body growing heavier. The thoughts growing softer. The self growing quieter. And beneath all of it, beneath the thoughts and the feelings and the day and the night and the roles and the giving and the forgetting and the remembering, beneath all of it, steady and patient and enduring and full of love, you, the actual you, home, good night, sleep, breathe, rest, you are home, good night, still here with you. A little longer, because we are close now, and I want to give you the full thing. I want to talk about something that feels important to name directly before we finally rest. And that is the difference between the kind of inner work we have been doing tonight and the kind of inner work that masquerades as self-improvement, but is actually another form of self-rejection. There is a version of this work that is still organized around the belief that you need to be fixed, that the shadow is a problem to be solved rather than a part of yourself to be welcomed, that the goal of psychology is to produce a better, cleaner, more functional version of the person you are, that you do this work in order to finally become acceptable to yourself or to others in a way you currently are not. That version of the work is not what Jung was pointing toward. And it is not what we have been doing tonight. What we have been doing tonight is something more radical and more gentle at the same time. We have been treating you as already whole, already enough. Not as a project to be completed, but as a person to be known. Not as something broken that needs repairing, but as something rich and complex and layered that deserves to be understood. Not as a set of problems to be solved, but as a self to be met. The shadow work, in this understanding, is not about eliminating the darkness. It is about including it. Not about becoming a better person, as defined by some external standard of psychological health or spiritual advancement. It is about becoming more fully the specific, irreplaceable, unrepeatable person that you actually are. That is a completely different project, and it produces a completely different quality of self-relationship. Not the anxious, effortful, never quite completed project of self-improvement, but the quieter, steadier, more enduring project of self-acceptance, of coming to know yourself, of making peace with the whole of what you are. And that peace, when it comes, does not feel like resignation. It does not feel like giving up or settling or lowering your standards. It feels like relief. Like the relief of finally being allowed to exist without justification. Like the relief of not having to be anything other than what you are. Like the relief of being, for perhaps the first time, genuinely at home in your own skin. That is what is available through this work. Not perfection, not transcendence. Not the elimination of difficulty or darkness, or the complicated reality of being human, but home, genuine home, in yourself, and you deserve that. You have always deserved that. Let the breath be slow and natural. Let the body be completely at rest. Let everything that does not need to be held right now be set down. I want to offer one more reflection on Jung, one final piece of his thinking that I want to plant in you tonight, as a seed for the days and weeks ahead. Jung believed that the psyche is always moving toward wholeness, that beneath the conscious strategies and the surface adaptations and the elaborate defenses we construct to manage our way through life, there is a deeper current, an organizing intelligence, the self, with its capital S, always and inexorably pressing toward the complete expression of everything the individual carries as potential. This means something important for you. It means that the movement toward yourself, the turn you made tonight, the crack in the armor, the small but real beginning of the return, these are not things you are doing against the grain of your psyche. These are things you are doing in alignment with your deepest nature, with the intelligence that has been trying to bring you home all along. You are not swimming upstream tonight. You are, for perhaps the first time in a long time, swimming with the current, with the deepest current of your own being, which has always been flowing, quietly and persistently, toward wholeness. Toward you. Trust that current. Let it carry you. Not passively, not without intention or effort, but with the specific kind of trust that allows you to work with what is natural rather than against it. To follow what the deeper self is already trying to show you, rather than forcing a path that the ego has mapped. The path is already there. The deeper self has been walking it for years, waiting for the conscious mind to catch up. Tonight, in this quiet, you have taken a step toward catching up. Keep taking steps, one at a time, at whatever pace is real for you. And know that every step is supported by the wisdom that Jung spent his lifetime articulating, by the community of people doing this work alongside you, by the deeper intelligence of your own psyche that has never stopped wanting to bring you home. You are supported. You are not alone. You are moving in exactly the right direction. Now let sleep come the rest of the way. The full, deep, restoring sleep that your body and your mind and your soul have genuinely earned tonight. Let the night hold you completely. Let the dark be soft and generous. Let the breath be the whole world. And in the morning, when you wake, I want you to do one thing before anything else. Before the phone and the list and the needs of others begin their familiar press, just one thing. Take one breath and ask yourself, how am I? And wait for the real answer. That is all. That one thing. That one small act of turning toward yourself at the very start of the day, before the day has had a chance to pull you away from yourself again. That one breath. That one honest question. That one moment of genuine self-attunement. It is a small thing. It is, in fact, everything. And if you want to go deeper, if you want more than one breath and one question, if you want the room where this work happens in full depth and full honesty week after week, The inner circle on Patreon is there, the first link in the description, the place that was built for exactly the person you are. The person who has been searching for the real thing and is ready to stop searching and start arriving. Come find us. The door is open. The room is warm. The work is real. But right now, for this moment that belongs entirely to you, sleep. You came home tonight. That is enough. That is everything. Good night. The breath, the dark, the quiet, the warmth, the self, patient and enduring, and full of love, waiting right here where it has always been. Home. You are home. Good night. Let the last of the tension go. Whatever is still held, in the shoulders, the jaw, the hands, let it release. Just let it go. You don't need it tonight. It will still be there if you need it tomorrow. But right now, you don't need it. Just this. Just the breath. Just the dark. Just the extraordinary simple fact of being alive, and here, and at rest. That is all. That is enough. That is you. Good night. Sleep well. Rest deeply. Dream freely. Wake gently. And remember, when the morning comes, and the world reasserts itself, and the familiar pull toward the familiar patterns begins again, remember this. You are also a person. You always were. And now you are remembering. Good night.